Chapter 4775. Xiaohua. Huang Tong cried out in surprise in Xiaohua's heart. I have to say, you are really a cultivation genius. Do you know what you are comprehending? This is the supreme law of heaven and earth in the Xianyuan space. Yi Jian only comprehended 2 halts out of the 10 halts, and he was able to break out of the Xianyuan space. But you? You actually comprehended 3 laws of heaven and earth at the same time. Are you still human? AI, poor child. Xiaohua proudly smiled. You've been away from home for far too long, so long that you don't even know it yourself. That's because there's a heavenly Tao avatar in our space. Aside from cultivating Taoist techniques, I also have a way to comprehend the heavenly Tao. This Xiao has already broken away from the heaven-piercing realm previously, and entered the heaven glimpse realm. Now because I've witnessed the heaven and earth laws of the 3 worlds, I've mastered all my previous accumulations through a comprehensive study, advancing the heaven glimpse realm a step further. What a heaven glimpse! What a heaven glimpse! Huang Tong was happy and spread her wings for thousands of miles. She said to Xiaohua in her heart, I wonder what other amazing realms are there? Xiaohua thought for a moment and shook his head. These realms are all mysterious and can only be understood and not explained. I am only using human language to explain, and cannot express the true meaning. Of course, if I had not reached that step, I would not know how to name it. Perhaps I had gained something before, but it was all nonsense. Ah! Huang Tong had already disappeared, but there was a clear connection in Xiaohua's heart. Even his mind could clearly sense Huang Tong's position. The secret technique of twin breath has made a substantial breakthrough. Xiaohua slightly sensed the position of Huang Tong, and immediately rejoiced. He smiled and said, If we cultivate for another 100 years, the mind of Xiao and the 8 fellow Taoists should be able to completely cover the hidden immortal continent. At that time, we should be able to lay out the 9 regions' great array. Just as Xiaohua thought of this, Huang Tong's scream sounded in his heart. Xiaohua, quickly help me. Ah! Xiaohua was stunned. His figure flashed, and he immediately teleported to the place where Huang Tong disappeared. Xiaohua appeared in the void and saw a strange beast twice the size of Huang Tong in the sky. It was standing on a demonic cloud and charging at Huang Tong. The strange beast looked like a python dragon, but it had a pair of bone wings that were over 10,000 feet long. On the bone wings, there were thousands of bone spikes that shone with a pitch-black brilliance under the sunlight. The beast's claws landed on Huang Tong's left wing. Huang Tong quickly flapped her wings and strange runes appeared, tearing the void to the left. Bursts of spatial power came from the cracks and swept toward the beast. Under normal circumstances, Huang Tong's move would have blocked the beast's attack. But at this moment, Huang Tong's body was swaying. She couldn't control her direction at all. Just like how Xiaohua bullied the weak, this attack didn't hit the beast at all. Instead, it missed and rushed towards the ground. It obviously missed. Seeing that the beast's claws were about to pierce Huang Tong's back, Xiaohua immediately rubbed his hands together. Rays of crystal light fell into the lightning hand. Then, with a rumbling sound, a hand that was several times bigger than the lightning hand used on the 3 continents appeared out of thin air. Not only was the hand of lightning powerful, but it also carried a kind of anger and madness. Before the hand even landed, the space under the hand had already been restricted. Many pitch-black vortexes appeared in the void and tore the strange beast's body apart. The giant hand even squeezed the strange beast's body until it was distorted. Roar, roar! The strange beast howled crazily and struggled with all its might. Many barbs grew out of the bone spikes and attacked Xiaohua's lightning hand. At this time, the lightning hand not only had lightning, it also had gold and purple light. These lights hit the bone spikes and the pitch-black bone spikes instantly turned into powder. A strange beast with 7th level essence power. Xiaohua used his power to grab the strange beast and unconsciously frowned. In his heart he said to Huang Tong, This is the most powerful strange beast I've ever met. Hiss, what's going on? In other words, Xiaohua's expression suddenly changed. Lightning surged around his body and his body trembled. With this trembling, Xiaohua's lightning hand instantly collapsed. The strange beast with 7th level essence power suddenly broke free and tried its best to fly into the sky. Its bone wings flapped a few times and disappeared into the sky. Xiaohua, what's wrong? Huang Tong saw the change and hurriedly shouted. Xiaohua didn't say anything. He raised his right hand to signal Huang Tong to shut up. Then he used a Dao technique to draw the heaven and earth essence energy of the 10,000 demon realm into his body. The 10,000 demon realm naturally had heaven and earth essence energy. When this heaven and earth essence energy entered Xiaohua's body, there were ripples in Xiaohua's lower dantian. Although these ripples were not big, they were enough to disturb the nebula nascent soul. Looking at the nebula nascent soul refining the heaven and earth essence energy without any special changes, Xiaohua patted his head again. Boom! A brilliance bloomed like a lotus platform. The rank 8 scattered nascent soul stepped on the brilliance and appeared in the space. Pa pa pa. The 8 tribulation scattered nascent soul was originally invisible, but at this time, the scattered nascent soul's entire body seemed to grow bigger and bigger. In a moment, it was already hundreds of feet tall. It was actually similar to Xiaohua's golden body. Moreover, as the 8 tribulation scattered nascent soul grew, a layer of strange marks appeared on the surface of the invisible nascent soul. Every time a mark appeared, the scattered nascent soul's body would boil violently, as if its hair was being cut off and the marrow was being cleansed. When the marks covered 50% of the nascent soul's body, rumble! High in the sky, the 2 suns emitted enchanting sunlight. Layers of thunder began to spread under the sun. 9. Ninth tribulation? Xiaohua was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that the 9th tribulation of the scattered nascent soul would be born here. How is this possible? When the scattered nascent soul has passed the 9th tribulation, it has already reached the realm of flesh in the spirit. It can replace the laws of heaven and earth in the tribulation and wait for ascension. But this is obviously not a suitable sign for ascension. Xiaohua narrowed his eyes and looked at the sky. Although the sky was changing, there was no trace of ascension aura at all. Moreover, opposite the 2 suns, 3 moons were also revealed. The merciless moonlight was also attracted to the nascent soul's body. The figure that was originally invisible was now more and more clear. This is the minor tribulation of the Xianyuan space. Just when Xiaohua was surprised, Huang Tong exclaimed, How? How can there be one in the 10,000 demon realm? What is a minor tribulation? Xiaohua hurriedly asked. Chapter 4776. Xianyuan space is a space composed of many interfaces. Outside of these interfaces, which is the edge of Xianyuan space, there is a space similar to the interface barrier. First, we have to break through the spatial barrier of the Xianyuan space. We have to break through this barrier before we can reach this space. The heavenly tribulation that is born in this space is easier than breaking through the heavenly tribulation of the entire Xianyuan space. Therefore, it is called the minor heavenly tribulation. Oh, I understand. Xiaohua thought for a moment and nodded. That is to say, the interface of 10,000 demon realm is not the same as the interface of the 3 continents, but half a grid higher, or even less than half a grid. Therefore, the stage 8 scattered nascent soul has to go through a minor heavenly tribulation to adapt to the heaven and earth origin energy here. To adapt to the laws of heaven and earth here. I guess this is also the reason why I waited until here and couldn't recover. With that said, Xiaohua looked at the lightning in the sky and frowned. It is nothing for my stage 8 scattered nascent soul to go through a minor heavenly tribulation here. But what if the scattered nascent soul returns to the 3 continents? Will it immediately face the real major heavenly tribulation? No need to think too much. Huang Tong smiled. The minor heavenly tribulation can be seen as a preview of the major heavenly tribulation. Don't you see the marks on the surface of the scattered nascent soul? That seems to be the mark of the laws of heaven and earth. The minor heavenly tribulation here is less powerful than the major heavenly tribulation. And after going through the minor heavenly tribulation, the immortal qi in the scattered nascent soul's body may be richer. And then the power of the major heavenly tribulation will be much smaller. Yes, I understand. Xiaohua nodded. This minor heavenly tribulation is equivalent to reducing the power of the major heavenly tribulation, but there are more tests inside. There are advantages and disadvantages. Fellow Taoist is right. Huang Tong replied. Xiaohua smiled bitterly. The problem is, I don't want to go through any minor heavenly tribulation now. I just want to quickly find the space passage to Xiaoyu continent. And I release my nascent soul just to let this nascent soul explore the abnormality of the heaven and earth origin energy in 10,000 demon realm. Xiaohua, isn't there a saying in the human race that haste makes waste? Don't worry. Huang Tong comforted. Let's take one step at a time. All right. Xiaohua thought for a moment and said, since you want to go through heavenly tribulation, then let's go through heavenly tribulation together. I don't have the time to let you transcend the tribulation one by one. As he spoke, Xiaohua released the other 100 or so stage 8 scattered nascent souls. More than 100 rank 8 scattered nascent souls appeared together. The 2 suns and 3 moons suddenly swelled up. Moreover, the lightning that filled the sky rapidly thickened. A huge vortex appeared in the sky above the lightning. Thick lightning pillars crazily smashed down. The entire world was roaring. Haha, sure. More than 100 scattered nascent souls teleported to within a radius of 1,000,000 miles. A huge capital sky star formation was formed. In the sky, lightning spread rapidly. Huang Tong laughed and said, in that case, I will join in the fun too. With that, Huang Tong opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of demonic qi. The 100 beast flag also fell into the air. The 99 demonic beast souls were interspersed between the 100 scattered nascent souls. A strange fluctuation appeared above the demonic beast soul. And this fluctuation rushed into the void. Boom, boom, boom. Amidst the rumbling, the sky around the huge vortex was torn open again. And the stars that filled the sky were revealed. 99 pillars of stars suddenly fell down, covering the demonic beast soul, and also protecting the 100 scattered nascent souls. It covered the entire capital sky star formation. While Xiaohua was worried about his nascent soul undergoing the minor heavenly tribulation, he was also frowning as he looked at the vast land within 1,000,000 miles. His mind was filled with a myriad of thoughts. Although he had suddenly released these 100 nascent souls to undergo the minor heavenly tribulation, he also wanted to use this method to attract all the demon clans within 1,000,000 miles. He wanted to test them and intimidate them. But now, seeing that the minor heavenly tribulation was about to fall, within 1,000,000 miles, other than the trembling demonic beasts, no other demon clan flew out. It's really strange. Could it be that there are no demon clans in the 10,000 demon realm here? While Xiaohua sighed and was puzzled, the minor heavenly tribulation of the 10,000 demon realm finally fell. For a total of 49 days and nights, the thunderbolts continued to strike. Layers of pitch-black realm power, and the power of laws that Xiaohua was familiar with also rushed into the bodies of the 100 scattered nascent souls in the arena. It washed away the remaining traces of the 3 continents, and began to condense the spirit bodies and change the rules in the spirit bodies. The 99 demonic beast souls in the middle of the thunderbolts also quickly condensed into light pillars of stars and moons during this period of time. Each demonic beast soul also borrowed the power of the thunderbolts to reach the point where Yin gave birth to Yang and reincarnate from death. If there were any special opportunities, they could really be reborn as real demonic beasts. When the thunderbolts and clouds dissipated, it was another starry night. Xiaohua kept the scarred scattered nascent souls. Huang Tong waved the 100 beast flag to keep the demonic beasts. The 2 of them looked at each other with helplessness in their eyes. Huang Tong said, Xiaohua, it seems that we are unlucky. Although we have arrived at the 10,000 demon realm, we have arrived at a desolate place. Otherwise, with such a big movement, the demon clan would have come to investigate long ago. This is not the worst news. Xiaohua replied, the worst news is, the 10,000 demon realms heaven and earth origin qi is different from the 3 continents. It is not particularly suitable for the human race. It should be said that it is very suitable for the dragon clan. When the heaven and earth origin qi falls into the meridians of the human race, it is very easy for the meridians to burst. Even if the heaven and earth origin qi is refined, when it falls into the lower dantian, it will cause changes. It will make the golden core unstable, and the nascent soul irritable. The reason is that there is a problem with the 2 suns and 3 moons in the sky. If this problem is not solved, our human race will not be able to survive in the 10,000 demon realm. It is probably because of this that there is no human race in the 10,000 demon realm. Our Fortune Gate disciples. If we were to take root here, I am afraid it would be extremely difficult. Why would the Fortune Gate disciples take root in the 10,000 demon realm? Huang Tong asked meaningfully. Why would we use the 10,000 demon realm instead of the Shenhua continent? Fellow Taoist may not understand what I mean. Xiaohua's mouth was a little bitter as he replied. Previously, I also had the intention of sending all my disciples to the Shenhua continent. But there are 3 problems. First, the Fortune Gate disciples in the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range are different from the original Fortune Gate disciples in the Shenhua continent. They are exposed to different laws of heaven and earth. I don't know if they can cultivate smoothly in the Shenhua continent. Without waiting for Xiaohua to finish, Huang Tong shook her head and said, since the laws of heaven and earth in the Shenhua continent are different, the laws of heaven and earth in the 10,000 demon realm are even more different. You are not worried about leaving them in the 10,000 demon realm? Chapter 4777. The Shenhua continent is not fully formed. Xiaohua explained. I know that the space is changing every moment. Because of the impact of the 3 laws of heaven and earth, there might be other changes in the space. Therefore, instead of putting the disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range in the Shenhua continent, it is better to put them in the mature world. Huang Tong naturally did not know about the changes in the space, so he just nodded and did not speak. Secondly, Xiaohua's gaze became a bit deep, and he even said with a bit of guilt, fellow Taoists might not know, but this Xiao is very soft-hearted. To put it bluntly, I indulge my disciples a bit. There are many things that I can't be strict with. Yuan Tongtian and His Highness Lan are 2 bad examples. Jiang Hong. How do I say it? I wanted to tell her directly several times, but I couldn't bear to see her suffer. I know that with the little white dragon in front of me, I won't let my disciple be the master of the West Sea Dragon Palace, but I can't bear to attack Jiang Hong. I think Jiang Hong has seen through this, so she has been fighting for it. This made me feel very conflicted. So when I saw the Mahavairakana Buddha the last time, I wanted to take Yuan Tongtian's soul and place it in my own space to nurture it. Wouldn't that be 100 times better than leaving it with the Mahavairakana Buddha? But I also know that I feel guilty about Yuan Tongtian, and I am afraid that it will not be easy to train his rebellious nature, so I simply handed this matter to the Vairocana Buddha. If the disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range come to the Shenhua continent, I am afraid that Xiaohua, you are really a very good person. You really don't deserve to be the sect master. Huang Tong said deeply. Look at Jiang Haochen in the Xianyuan space. Without needing Huang Tong to say more, Xiaohua naturally understood what he wanted to say. Xiaohua helplessly waved his hand and said, cultivation can be improved with cultivation, but this character is really hard to change. So I basically don't make any decisions in the Fortune Gate. Everything is left to Lu Yi and the others. Speaking of Lu Yi, Huang Tong's eyes were smiling. These children are all good. I don't know how you found them. How I found them, don't you already know? I didn't hide the details of these disciples from you. Xiaohua replied. No. Huang Tong shook her head. What I meant was, how did you have such good luck to find such a good disciple? Just based on their final choice, I feel that in the entire 3 continents, no one can compare to them. Forget it, let's not talk about it anymore. The more you talk about it, the heavier my burden becomes. Xiaohua waved his hand and said, the 3rd reason is our ascension. He remembered that in the Star Moon Palace, Senior Su Ji and Fairy Xingyu had said that when they ascended, ordinary cosmos bags, dharma treasures, and other items could not be brought up to the immortal world. This was because the laws of heaven and earth had to change, and the immortal spirit chi had to be reconstructed into the array formation. Ordinary dharma treasures could not withstand the immortal spirit chi because of their material. Even for a divine item like the Kunlun mirror, I'm afraid that the Kunlun wonderland within it would need to be reconstructed. Therefore, I cannot guarantee that the Shenhua continent will not undergo any changes. If there is a change, the disciples of Shenhua continent should be able to follow the changes of the entire realm, because they have the laws of heaven and earth. However, The disciples of the soaring dragon mountain range might not be able to. I understand. Huang Tong nodded and said, then you have to make a choice between the laws of heaven and earth in the 10,000 demon realm, the persecution of the strange beasts in the 10,000 demon realm, and the changes in the space of Shenhua continent. Yes, there has to be a choice. Xiaohua sighed and said, what do you think? Don't ask me. I don't understand these things. Huang Tong flapped her wings and said, your choice is my choice. Don't you have any suggestions? Xiaohua asked unwillingly. After all, you have been to the mystic space and have seen a lot more than me. Fellow Taoist, don't laugh at me. Huang Tong pursed her lips and said, fellow Taoist, you have also brought the disciples of the Fortune Gate and other fellow Taoists to the upper realm. Aren't you more knowledgeable than me? If you have something to say, you should discuss it with them more, right? Huh. Xiaohua's mind had already sensed the blurry space. He knew that under the minor tribulation of the 10,000 demon realm, the laws of heaven and earth in the space had begun to stabilize. Feng Wu and the others would be able to come out soon. He smiled and said, then let's wait a few more days. We will discuss it together. I think there will be a good way. The heaven and earth's origin energy is different from the 3 continents. Our human race can't cultivate, then what about other things? Huang Tong gradually began to consider the 3 continents and couldn't help but ask. Xiaohua smiled and said, fellow Taoist, please wait a moment. After he finished speaking, Xiaohua raised his hand and patted the top of his head. Hong. A 5-colored true qi gushed out and formed 5 lotus-like clouds above his head. The clouds were born, and countless noble qi fell down with a loud rumble. A huge body was gradually formed. However, this body was somewhat different from the 3 continents. It was not the image of a scholar, but the image of a general. Xiaohua's body rushed into the sky and galloped for a moment before returning to his body. Xiaohua shook his head slightly and said to Huang Tong, what Confucian cultivators use is noble qi. In the end, it is also a kind of spiritual qi. However, Confucian cultivators can use this spiritual qi to deposit the human race's history and thoughts in the world for future generations to use. There is a similar spiritual qi in the 10,000 demon realm. Let's call it noble qi. However, there was no human race in the 10,000 demon realm before, so the noble qi did not have the precipitation of the sage's thoughts. Without the accumulation of thousands of years of culture, there is no characteristic of Confucian cultivators. Of course, this noble qi can be used to cultivate Xiantian true qi. Also, the righteous spirit of the 10,000 demon realm focuses on martial arts, while the righteous spirit of the 3 continents focuses on political governance. In this respect, the Immortal Palace's militarists should be like fish in water. Hearing this, Huang Tong already understood. He nodded and said, a new world naturally has a new order. A new world also has a new beginning. Everything is uncertain and unknown. However, since the 10,000 demon realm is named demon, the power of the stars and moon lives up to its name. Yes. Xiaohua looked down at his golden body, and then looked at Huang Tong's demon body. He replied, because the 10,000 demon realm has 2 suns and 3 moons, the stars in the starry sky are twice as dense as the 3 continents. The power of the stars and moon is of course several times stronger. Moreover, from the looks of our Dharma bodies, the laws of heaven and earth in the 10,000 demon realm are also biased towards the demon race and not the human race. Chapter 4778. The Xian technique I cultivate is different from Feng Wu's star and moon force. Huang Tong laughed. When we were in the 3 continents, Feng Wu was slightly weaker than me. But here, Feng Wu is stronger than me. Fellow Taoist, you're skilled in the laws of space. When Xiaohua spoke up to hear, he suddenly came to an understanding and asked hastily. Right, you hadn't come out earlier, so I'd already tried to utilize a spatial escape technique. However, I was unable to utilize it no matter what. I feel that this might be related to the laws of the heavens and the earth. Try again. Huang Tong nodded and waved his sharp claws, tearing the void. After the figure disappeared, he retreated a moment later and replied thoughtfully. You are right. The space escape technique uses the space force of the realm, and this space force originates from the law of space. You and I are new here. How can we comprehend the law of space of the 10,000 demon realm? Even if we do, we don't have the law of space of the 10,000 demon realm in our bodies. How can we activate the space force? Well, the reason why you could activate the space escape technique in the 3 continents is because you are the body of the 4 major continents, and I also have the law of heaven and earth of the 3 continents in my body. Xiaohua nodded. If we want to use the space escape technique in the 10,000 demon realm, we can only comprehend the law of heaven and earth and absorb it into our bodies. That is true, and so is cultivation. But if you want to engrave the law of heaven and earth of a realm into your body, you will not be able to do it without thousands of years of hard work. Don't be delusional. Huang Tong knew what Xiaohua was thinking and mercilessly interrupted Xiaohua's daydream. Sigh. Xiaohua sighed, knowing that it would take many days to find the space passage to the Donrain continent. Let's take a look at the power of faith of the Buddhist sect. Huang Tong whispered. Maybe there will be a surprise. Absolutely impossible. Xiaohua shook his head. This is a desolate realm of Buddhism. There is no Buddhism from the human race. Although the Buddhism sect emphasizes that all living beings are Buddhas, the origin of the Buddhism sect is still the human race. Only through the enlightenment of the human race can the Buddhism be spread. The 10,000 demon realm also has reincarnation and karma. Huang Tong smiled. As long as there is the human race, Buddhism can still prosper. I am already looking forward to it. If there is a great sage of the 10,000 demon realm chanting Buddha's name, what kind of scene it would be? Xiaohua ignored Huang Tong and chanted, Namo Methriya Buddha. The Buddhas 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 and Buddhas 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 and Buddhas Buddhas Buddha Buddha. Buddhas 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 Buddha. Buddhas is Buddhas. Buddhas is Buddhas is Buddhas Buddha Buddha. Buddhas Buddha, Buddha. After Xiaohua withdrew the Buddhist light, Huang Tong smiled and said, I didn't expect that you could only reveal a female bodhisattva here. Buddha's Buddha Buddha, Buddha Buddha, Buddha Buddha. Xiaohua had already understood and explained. I have achieved fruition in the realms of the 3 continents. Naturally, I can reveal my true form in the 3 continents. But this is not the realm of fruition. Since I am here, the image of Namamethriya Buddha is naturally Buddha's Buddha. Moreover, I have just seen that this 10,000 demon realm does not have the original power of faith. That is, there is no Buddha's light. It seems that those guardian heavenly kings who escorted the Buddha here will have merit. Huang Tong smiled and flapped her wings in the air. She laughed and said, This merit actually belongs to you, fellow Taoist. Xiaohua smiled but did not answer. This was because when he released the Buddha's golden body, he had already sensed the change in the crystal godhead. It was a kind of light of faith at the edge. As long as Xiaohua released the Buddhist disciples and Confucian disciples, this light of faith would immediately flourish and the crystal godhead would definitely increase. Seeing that Xiaohua did not speak, Huang Tong also knew that the Dharma should not be passed on. She was from the demon tribe and had nothing to do with the Buddhism sect, so he would not ask. She looked around and said, Fellow Taoists, you have opened up a paradise for the cultivators of the ruins on the untainted land. Let me help you today. Thank you. Xiaohua cupped his hands and smiled. Then Huang Tong spread her wings and rushed into the sky. An overwhelming aura was like the rising sun. As she flew high, it spread throughout the entire world. After half an hour, Huang Tong had disappeared from Xiaohua's eyes. Even Xiaohua's divine sense could not detect Huang Tong's aura. However, Huang Tong's voice still sounded in Xiaohua's heart. Fellow Taoist, something is not right. There are demonic beasts everywhere. There is no peaceful place. Moreover, the sky of the demon realm is different from the 3 continents. There is no earth, fire, wind, and thunder. Oh, or perhaps the sky is very high and I have not come into contact with the earth, fire, wind, and thunder. Within 1,000,000 miles, there were no particularly powerful demonic beasts before? Xiaohua frowned and asked in a low voice, Could it be that this place is not suitable? Just as Xiaohua asked this question, a kind of warning suddenly emerged from the bottom of his heart. Then, an incomparably gloomy and cold consciousness, even colder than the wind of the netherworld, swept over from afar. Xiaohua cried out in alarm without thinking, Not good. Then, Xiaohua activated the wind escape technique and flew into the distance. In a moment he had disappeared. As soon as Xiaohua moved, the cold and gloomy consciousness seemed to have noticed the abnormality. It immediately chased after Xiaohua, closely following behind him. After the time it took to eat a meal, Xiaohua was still unable to get rid of the consciousness behind him. Xiaohua was shocked and immediately activated the thunder escape technique. However, after hearing the roar of thunder, Xiaohua accelerated again that when the cold consciousness heard the sound of thunder, it immediately stopped. It seemed to be shocked, but then the cold consciousness seemed to be angry and madly rushed in the direction Xiaohua disappeared in. However, after a moment, the consciousness retracted and then rushed into the sky to find Huang Tong that Xiaohua did not dare to stop and flew for half an hour. During this time, there were also a lot of consciousnesses that rushed out, wanting to stop Xiaohua. However, these consciousnesses were much weaker than Xiaohua. Xiaohua did not hold back and released his pressure. As long as he encountered any obstruction, he would immediately kill them. These consciousnesses were so scared that they did not dare to chase. Damn it! Xiaohua's figure stopped at the peak of a mountain. He looked back with some lingering fear. Above his head, Huang Tong also flew out from the void. Her face, which had always been arrogant, also had a kind of panic. What kind of demonic beast is this? Could it be that it has already surpassed the 10th grade of origin energy? Give it as a reward, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 4779. I don't know what kind of demon race it is. Huang Tong retracts her wings and agrees. But I know that this is a strong opponent that I have never met before. I don't know about other divine abilities, but just from this will alone, I might have found more than one. This will is filled with a kind of instinct. Xiaohua ponders for a moment and shakes his head. It's far from the intelligence of an ordinary spirit race or demon race. It should be a kind of demon beast. Oh my, a demon beast comparable to a 10th grade essence power? Huang Tong's originally retracted wings suddenly explodes. She exclaims, Xiaohua, you let more than 108th grade loose nascent souls go through the minor heavenly tribulation in front of other people's door. Now that I think about it, we are really tired of living. If other people came out at that time, this minor heavenly tribulation, whether they can pass or not is another matter. Hee, since it dares to come out, let it also taste the taste of the minor heavenly tribulation. Xiaohua laughs coldly. Forget it. Huang Tong laughs. How can you bear to let these quasi-ninth tribulation loose nascent souls deal with demon beasts? If these loose nascent souls return to the 3 continents, most of them can pass the major heavenly tribulation and enter the immortal world. At that time, they will be your powerful backup. The problem is, Xiaohua has nothing to hide from his clone. He says in his heart, how can 109th tribulation loose nascent souls pass the tribulation? That's the major heavenly tribulation for ascension, not the minor heavenly tribulation just now. Won't 109th tribulation loose nascent souls crush the corresponding world passage of the 3 continents? Hee, from the memory that fellow Taoist passed to I, fellow Taoist seems to have asked Senior Su about the soul cleansing pool, right? Huang Tong is indeed on his side. Her smile also carries a kind of wretchedness, a kind of deep meaning. I don't know. Xiaohua laughs and waves his hand. We will talk about this later. Right now, we also need to ask for help. Saying this, Xiaohua's mind enters the space. However, just as Xiaohua's mind enters the space, he is stunned again because a strange feeling arises from the bottom of his heart. Xiaohua's mind hastily turned into a jade archive. Xiaohua stood quietly in the void with his eyes slightly closed, sensing the changes in the entire space. Within this space, the various spaces that had yet to materialize, as well as the space where Shenhua continent was located, did not appear to be any different on the surface. However, Xiaohua could vaguely sense that there were already different heaven and earth laws in different spaces. Although these heaven and earth laws were still in their embryonic form, the fluctuations were gradually gathering in the 4 walls of the space, forming a thin boundary barrier. Even these realm barriers were flashing with obscure profound meanings in front of the 3 laws in the void that had yet to stop. Half a meal's worth of time later, Jade Archive Xiaohua finally opened his eyes and looked at himself up and down. At this moment, Jade Archive Xiaohua's image was much clearer than before. Jade Archive Xiaohua clapped his hands and said, "Excellent, this is a blessing in disguise." After that, Xiaohua didn't ask Taoist sorcerer and the others to come out. He came out of the space himself. Where are my fellow Taoists?" Huang Tong asked curiously. Xiaohua stretched out his finger and waved his hand, asking, "Don't be anxious, fellow Taoist. Let me ask you a question first." "Oh, go ahead." Huang Tong was even more confused. "I have already passed all my memories to you. Do you still have any questions? Memories are memories, comprehension is comprehension." Xiaohua smiled and said, "This is different. I have a question now. You said that the Xianyuan space is an interface made up of different spaces, and the laws in each space are different. Then Yi Jian and Jiang Haochen's cultivation is comprehending different laws and cultivating different spatial divine powers? Why do you ask?" Huang Tong asked. "Because in our space, each space has already become a prototype of an interface, and each has formed a different law of heaven and earth." Xiaohua answered in his heart, "I think. Does Shenhua continent already have the possibility of immortal ascension, or the possibility of heavenly tribulation?" "Good." Huang Tong laughed and said, "Congratulations, fellow Taoist. It should be so." "Congratulations, congratulations." Xiaohua realized that he was right. Huang Tong explained, "The situation of the Xianyuan space is different from our space. Those spaces should be in the same interface, and the laws of heaven and earth inside are generally similar. There are only some slight differences, so every time Yi Jian breaks through a space, he doesn't have to go through heavenly tribulation. Only at the last moment will there be heavenly tribulation. Oh, of course, this is my own understanding. I am not clear about Yi Jian's experience. As for the true appearance of the Xianyuan space, I don't even know." "Understood." Xiaohua smiled and said, "No matter what, this is a good thing. If they can't find a suitable place in the 10,000 demon realm, Li Xiang and the rest can stay in the Shenhua continent. Of course, they can also go to the Xiaoyu continent. It depends on their own choice." Then Xiaohua raised his voice and said, "Fellow Taoists, why don't you come out and see the scenery of the 10,000 demon realm?" "Haha, who will wake up first in the dream? I know myself." Before Xiaohua's voice fell, a bold and unrestrained voice sounded. The Thunder Immortal was showing off while flying out. Without waiting for the thunderclap venerable to stand still in the air, rumble. Countless profound meanings appeared in the void, and turned into thunderbolts that rushed into the thunderclap venerable's body. The thunderclap venerable's body suddenly expanded like a bubble. In just a moment, he turned into a colossus that was over 10,000 zhang tall. He actually looked a size larger than Xiaohua. However, the Thunder Immortal didn't have time to show off. He sat down cross-legged and quietly comprehended the profound meaning of thunder in the 10,000 demon realm. "This guy." Xiaohua looked at the Thunder Immortal and said, relying on the fact that he read a few more books in the Shenhua continent. When Chu wasn't here, he dropped his book bag. "I really don't know what Princess Qingqing sees in him. Tortoise and mung beans, they just like each other." Huang Tong rolled his eyes and said, "Yes, fellow Taoist didn't find one in the Xianyuan space?" Xiaohua asked curiously, but he regretted it after saying it. This Huang Tong was different from Feng Wu. He had also experienced some of his own experiences. Why would he make such a joke with him for no reason? Sai, once you've seen the sea, you can't see the water. Apart from Mount Wu, you can't see the clouds. Sure enough, Huang Tong sighed and said, "Xiaohua, although I have the Phoenix celestial body, the Phoenix celestial body also has integrity. You can forget Fairy Hongxia and find another Princess Zixia, but I can't forget the Ice Phoenix in my heart." Xiaohua was embarrassed. He stretched out a finger and pointed at Huang Tong in the void and said, Okay, don't let me see the Ice Phoenix celestial body. I will definitely tell her what you did in the Xianyuan space." Chapter 4780. Huang Tong shrugged and flapped her wings. She seemed to be laughing and sobbing at the same time. After a while, Huang Tong said, Fellow Taoist Xiao, you want to say it, but can the Ice Phoenix avatar understand? AI, that's true. Xiaohua sighed. Not everyone is as lucky as me, and not every bloodline avatar is as lucky as you. What a pity, what a pity. Huang Tong recited. When you were born, I was not born. When I was born, you were old. You hate that I was born late. I hate that you were born early. When you were born, I was not born. When I was born, you were old. I hate that we were born at the same time. When I was born, you were not born. When you were born, I was old. When I was away from you, you were separated by me. When I was born, you were not born. When you were born, I was old. When I turned into a phoenix, I went to find a phoenix. Every night I stayed in the parasol tree. Good poem. Xiaohua clapped. I didn't expect you to be comparable to the Thunderbolt Immortal. If the Ice Phoenix avatar heard this poem, she would probably pounce on you. This poem is ordinary. The Thunderbolt Immortal opened his eyes and said, I'll teach you one line. One line? Huang Tong asked curiously. Which one? When your phoenix feathers reach your body, can I marry you? The Thunderbolt Immortal said. Xiaohua smiled and pointed at the Thunderbolt Immortal. It's called, Why worry about breaking the Willow Village Bridge? Let it be. The candle is gone, the song is dim. The cold chrysanthemum's soulless fragrance is hard to wither. Afraid of the Milky Way's high waves, the evening smoke is hot. Last year, the swallow returned to the nest early. The small building played alone to the moon. The red dress spread across the 10-mile bridge. The 1,000 miles of Cloud Mountain alone. The envy of the neighboring village. When my hair reaches my waist, is the young man from afar good? Accompany you for life? This is what Princess Qingqing taught you. I'm not telling you. The Thunderbolt Immortal closed his eyes and ignored the two. Haha, fellow Taoist Thunderbolt is really interesting. Huang Tong laughed at the Thunderbolt Immortal's words. Since the Fortune Gate's second Old Master has come out, then please invite the fourth Old Master to come out. Xiaohua smiled faintly. As soon as Nanwu Methria Buddha World Sovereign came out of the space, Buddhist light immediately overflowed. In the void, countless power of faith flowed like a gurgling stream, and fell into Methria Buddha World Sovereign's body. Boom. Unsurprisingly, Methria Buddha World Sovereign's figure also swelled. And it also turned into a Dharma image with a big belly and a small face. Haha, the revered one of the world's Dharma idol looks like this? How strange, how interesting. Huang Tong had never seen Methria Buddha before. Now that she saw it, she couldn't help but laugh so hard that she almost fell from the sky. Namo Methria Buddha. Methria Buddha's Dharma form was formed. He looked around and saw everything clearly. His face instantly showed mercy as he chanted, Is this the demon realm? That's right, this is the 10,000 demon realm, the revered one. When Xiaohua saw the revered one of the world reveal his Dharma, a kind of benevolence and supremacy was born. He didn't dare to be negligent and hastily answered. Humans are Buddhas, demons are Buddhas, spirits are Buddhas, demons are also Buddhas. Methria Buddha said in a low voice. Since this is the demon realm, it could also be the 10,000 Buddha's kingdom. I, as the future Buddha Lord, make a great promise. I will be born here, start the Buddha river, pass down the Buddha Dharma, and spread the Buddha light. Namo Dipankara Archaic Buddha, Namo Amitba Buddha, Namo Methria Buddha. In an instant, Buddhist chants resounded in the void, and countless Buddhist lights manifested. Layers of Sanskrit text mixed with golden Swanee text soared into the sky, forming a gigantic swastika character that soared into the 9 heavens. After a moment, the faint Buddhist lights slowly descended like fireflies, disappearing from the world. As the Buddha light disappeared, the Methria Buddha's Dharma idol gradually converged and returned to its original form. Namo Methria Buddha congratulates the revered one. Xiaohua clasped his hands together and bowed. There is no joy nor sorrow. It is both suffering and cultivation. Methria Buddha returned the bow. Huang Tong was a little confused and hurriedly asked, Revered one, this. What does this mean? Nothing. Methria Buddha smiled and said, I am about to complete the cultivation of the first transformation golden body. After I enter the heavenly gate, I will enter the Buddhist kingdom. Different from Xiao Tanyue's ascension, I will give birth to 9 golden bodies and re-enter the 9 realms to cultivate the second transformation golden body. The 3 continents are where I condense the first transformation golden body. There will definitely be 1 golden body. The other 8 golden bodies will go to different realms. Of course, these realms must have Buddha light and the lotus pond to condense the golden body. But if I make a great wish, I can descend to a realm without Buddha light like the 10,000 demon realm, and establish the foundation of Buddhism from nothing. I will wait for the golden body of the Buddha Lord to descend. Hey, isn't the revered one the past Buddha Lord? Huang Tong asked curiously. For now, isn't that the future? Maitreya Buddha smiled and said. Huang Tong shook her head and said, forget it, forget it. I won't play games with you. I know it's a very difficult thing. If others see it, it's naturally difficult. Maitreya Buddha smiled and said, but in my eyes it's easy. With that said, Maitreya Buddha took out the water bottle and handed it to Xiao Hua and said, I wonder if Bodhisattva can give me some water from the lotus pond. Haha. Xiao Hua smiled faintly, took the clear water bottle, took some of the lotus pond water from the space, and returned it to Maitreya Buddha. Revered one, did you also take the merit of the current Buddha Lord? Merit or not, it really doesn't matter. Maitreya Buddha replied faintly, let my Buddha light shine on the 10,000 demon realm as soon as possible. That's the most important thing. Namo Maitreya Buddha. Xiao Hua chanted the name of Buddha, looked around and sighed. The revered one's great wish is comparable to Jiang Luer. If you want this 10,000 demon realm to be filled with temples, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to complete the second transformation golden body. The great wish of the world is not as good as the great wish of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. This is nothing. Maitreya Buddha looked at the barren land and strange beasts around, and didn't particularly care. Instead he asked, Bodhisattva, have you not found a place that can accommodate Bodhisattva along the way? Xiao Hua shook his head and said with some worry, not only that, we were almost caught by a demon beast that was about the 10th level of elemental force. It's okay. Maitreya Buddha smiled and said, the world is so big, it's impossible for there to be no place for Bodhisattva, just look. Revered one. Xiao Hua smiled bitterly and said, it's not that this disciple doesn't want to look, it's that this disciple doesn't have time to look. This disciple needs to quickly find the space passage to the Xiaoyu continent. Chapter 4781. With that, Xiao Hua took out the Kunlun mirror, and with a wave of his hand, he pulled out the little white dragon. As soon as the little white dragon came out of the space, his entire dragon body immediately swelled up, and layers of heaven and earth yuan qi turned into dragon runes and rushed into his dragon body. Roar! Little white dragon roared, rushed to the sky, hovered for a moment, and just wanted to fly a circle in the distance, but after flying 100 miles he immediately flew back obediently, and shouted in front of Xiao Hua. Big brother, we finally arrived at the 10,000 demon realm. Where is this place? Why does it look so unfamiliar? Just now, there was a powerful demon beast that threatened me. Where is this place? Xiao Hua didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, I called you out to ask you where this place is. Why are you asking me instead? Could it be that your memory hasn't recovered yet? Big brother, the little white dragon said with a smile, you think too highly of me. When I was in the 10,000 demon realm, I was just a python, living a life that didn't go out of the door. To be honest, if I didn't have the opportunity to obtain Long Yu, and then met Ming Hua, I'm afraid I wouldn't even know which demon realm I was living in. You asked me where this is, how would I know? Damn. Xiao Hua felt a headache coming on. He recalled what the little white dragon had said to him when it was cultivating with Taoist sorcerer in the 9 heavens of spirit origin. He smiled bitterly and said, didn't you say it before? There are a lot of secrets in the 10,000 demon realm that you didn't want to tell me before, because you were afraid that I would be distracted. How come now? You don't know anything? Big brother. The little white dragon also defended. At that time, your cultivation was still shallow, what could I tell you? There were a lot of cultivation methods that I naturally couldn't tell you. But who knew after 100 years, you suddenly became a top expert. How could I still dare to play around in front of you? As for the secrets of the 10,000 demon realm, I seem to know some, but wasn't it sealed at that time? I'm not sure either. I thought it wouldn't be too late to tell you after I break the seal. But now that I think about it, those secrets are meaningless to you now. Hearing Little White Dragon say that he was a python that had never seen the world, Xiaohua immediately understood that Little White Dragon's background was similar to his, a country bumpkin that had never seen the world, so he nodded and said, "All right. Let's not talk about this for now. Didn't you travel with Ming Hua in the 10,000 demon realm? Don't tell me you didn't gain anything? Big brother, don't mention it." Little White Dragon sounded like he was about to cry as he complained. Little brother obtained the incomplete dragon jade by chance, but little brother doesn't know how to cultivate it. Thus, I racked my brains to seek guidance from a demon-level expert. However, there aren't many demon-level experts that I can find. These demon-level experts don't know how to recognize treasures, so they can't see the cultivation method in the dragon jade. So they are all little brother. I lied to them. Later, little brother finally found an Earth Stage expert. That Earth Stage expert saw that there was something wrong with the dragon jade, but he didn't understand it, so he brought little brother to find a Star Stage expert. In the end, that Star Stage expert saw the power of the dragon transformation art and wanted to take it for himself. After he killed that Earth Stage expert and wanted to interrogate little brother about where he got the dragon jade, Minghua appeared. That Star Stage expert didn't say anything and hurriedly fled, causing Minghua to be baffled. After Minghua obtained the dragon transformation art, he also had the heart to cultivate it, so he brought little brother with him. He also made it very clear to little brother that he could guide little brother's cultivation, but he had to cultivate the dragon transformation art first. As long as he cultivated the dragon transformation art, little brother would have to leave him. Of course, Minghua is a man of his words. He didn't hide anything about the cultivation of the dragon transformation art. Whatever little brother asked, he would answer. However, if little brother didn't ask, he wouldn't say at all. Little White Dragon continued. Furthermore, little brother traveled with him. Actually, little brother was brought by him most of the time, coming and going in the wind and clouds. Little brother doesn't know where we went at all. And little brother was engrossed in cultivation at that time. Who knows where we went? As for the spatial passageway that leads to the Dawn Rain continent, it's a place not far from the Huatian realm. Minghua cultivated there, so little brother knows. Xiaohua looked at Little White Dragon's anxious look and nodded. So that's the case, I understand. You don't have to blame yourself either. When Big Brother finds the Huatian realm, I'll call you out. Oh right, if you're willing to stay by Big Brother's side, Big Brother is also willing to bring you along. Goodbye. Little White Dragon shrunk his neck and said, I'd better return to the Kunlun Wonderland. The sea there is azure blue and calm. It's much better than here. All right. Xiaohua waved his hand to take Little White Dragon back. But at this moment Little White Dragon suddenly shouted, Oh right, Big Brother, I heard Minghua say that there's a place called Feihong Wasteland in the far east of the Huatian realm. He doesn't dare to go there easily. Do you think this place is Feihong Wasteland? If it is, Big Brother can fly directly to the west and probably reach the Huatian realm. Xiaohua was overjoyed and asked, Where is the west? Little White Dragon pointed in a direction and said, The direction of the 10,000 demon realm is different from the 3 continents and the Dawn Rain continent. Hao Yang's position is east, the position where the sun sits is west. Hao Yang's left hand facing the sun is south, and his right hand is west. What about at night? Xiaohua suddenly asked. At night? Little White Dragon was stunned and shook his head. I don't know. Good. Xiaohua nodded and waved the Kunlun mirror to keep Little White Dragon into the space. He looked at Mithriya Buddha and Huang Tong helplessly. Looks like we're in big trouble. Fellow Taoist only knows now. Huang Tong laughed. Not to mention Little White Dragon is unreliable. I reckon that Dai is also unreliable. Don't be in a hurry to fly to the east. Let's ask Dai first. Dai came out of the space and could no longer maintain her human form. Shua. She returned to her swan demon form in the air. Looking at Dai graceful figure and her proud neck, Xiaohua smiled and said, "No wonder you and the Empress can transform into beautiful women. It turns out that your bodies are also so beautiful." "Thank you for your praise, Sect Master." Dai flew freely in the air for a moment, as if she was breathing in the yearning of her hometown. Then she landed and replied respectfully, "Dai, now that we've reached the 10,000 demon realm, I'm going to the Huatian realm. Do you know how to get there?" Xiaohua asked. When she heard the Huatian realm, Dai was stunned. She didn't understand if Xiaohua happened to be there, or if he knew something. However, Dai was already prepared. She whispered, "I'll let Master know. I've already seen it just now. This place is very unfamiliar. I don't know and can't tell Master. Moreover, the Huatian realm that Master is talking about, I don't know." Chapter 4782. Forget about the Huatian boundary. Where is Demon King Emosa's Tsungyuan boundary in the 10,000 demon realm? Huang Tong asked impatiently. Dyer hurriedly replied, "It seems to be in the northeast of the 10,000 demon realm." "Sai, is there a map similar to the Xiaoyu continent in the 10,000 demon realm?" Xiaohua sighed and asked. Seeing Xiaohua's disappointment, Dai was anxious, but she still hesitated. "There seems to be, but I'm not sure. I've only heard a few words from the Empress." "Then do you know about the Great Wasteland?" Xiaohua asked straightforwardly. "The Great Wasteland?" Dai was stunned and asked curiously. "Senior knows about the Great Wasteland." "I didn't say it was the Great Wasteland." Xiaohua laughed. "I'm only asking if you know." "I don't know," Dai answered honestly. Xiaohua glanced at Huang Tong. Both of their eyes were filled with helplessness. Maitreya Buddha smiled. "Dai, then do you know from the Empress or the other demons in the Tianfu Palace that there are any dangers in the 10,000 demon realm?" "Oh, I remember now," Dai suddenly said in surprise. "When I was in the Emosa Palace, I heard from the Empress that Demon King Emosa once went to the north of the Tsungyuan boundary, a place called the Dripping Dew Wasteland, and was injured there. The Empress also said that fortunately it was the Dripping Dew Wasteland. If it was the Dripping Dew Wasteland in the southwest, I'm afraid I would have lost half of my life." "Then what is between these two wastelands and the Tsungyuan boundary?" Maitreya Buddha asked again. "It should be the sea." Dai rolled her eyes and replied. "It seems to be called the Blue Jade Sea." Xiaohua looked at the two suns that were about to set and said, "If I ask you to return to the Heavenly Blessing Palace in the Sky Rain boundary, can you go back?" Dai knew that Xiaohua was not probing, but looking for the direction. She did not hide it and shook her head. "I can't. The sky is the same as the ground. There are many flying beasts. Their territory is the sky. Even if I know the direction, I don't dare to fly over it." "In other words, you don't know where the Heavenly Blessing Palace is, even with the sun as a reference?" Huang Tong was also worried and asked. "Yes, I really can't tell." Dyer said apologetically. "I've made a fool of myself." Hee, it's nothing." Xiaohua laughed. "I'll think of something myself. Oh, by the way, how is Yuanya's cultivation?" Reporting to Master, there was a strange spatial fluctuation earlier, causing Ye to experience a slight deviation. But now he's fine. Dyer hurriedly reported. When Xiaohua left Yuanxi Reef Plain, he didn't bring any of his disciples with him, only Yuanya. Not only because he had promised to let Yuanya accompany Dai, or to save Empress Yanwan, but also because Yuanya was refining the Devil's Spear. Xiaohua was really worried. "Alright, you can go back first." Xiaohua activated the Kunlun mirror, and the light pillar enveloped Dai. He said, "Think about it carefully. If you think of anything, report it immediately." "Yes, Master." Dai bowed and returned to Shenhua continent. "We're in trouble." Huang Tong shook her head and said, "Little White Dragon said that there was a great wilderness in the east of Huatian boundary." Dai said that there were two wastelands. One was called Lili Wasteland, north of Tsungyuan boundary. The other was called Bobo Wasteland, southwest of Tsungyuan boundary. Minghua is a great sage of the 10,000 demon realm. This Huatian boundary should be in a place where there are more demons in the 10,000 demon realm. Demon King Emosa's Tsungyuan boundary shouldn't be too far away. Let's put the two places together for the time being. In other words, if we can't determine where we are now, no matter if we go east, west, north, or south, it's possible to reach Huatian boundary. Yes, Xiaohua said helplessly. We can reach Huatian boundary in any direction, which means that anyone can reach the depths of the wasteland in any direction. These wastelands are places that even the great sages of the 10,000 demon realm don't dare to enter. We should just forget about it. Then where should we go? Huang Tong also had no idea. Don't worry. Xiaohua's heart moved, and he thought of something. He waved his hand and took Xiaoguo out of the space. Xiaoguo fell in midair, and there was no special change. Her body swayed, and she first revealed her original body, and then a moment later, she turned back into her human form. Greetings, master. Xiaoguo looked at Huang Tong and the others timidly, and bowed to Xiaohua. Xiaoguo. Xiaohua ordered. This is the 10,000 demon realm. This old man wants to go to the Huatian realm. Go and ask the spirit clan nearby if they know the Huatian realm, or if they know where this place is, where this old man should go. Yes, master. Xiaoguo did not dare to delay, and her body fell, and she disappeared into the ground. Unfortunately, in the time it took to finish a meal, Xiaoguo returned with a look of fear on her face. She said respectfully, Master, you should know that the spirit race people here cannot be considered spirit race people, and do not have any special intelligence. Some of them are ignorant, and do not even know where they are. Moreover, these spirit clan are very fierce. I can't get anything out of them. Sai, I understand you can go back. Xiaoguo's words were not out of Xiaohua's expectations. He waved his hand and put Xiaoguo into the space, and looked at Huang Tong helplessly. Fellow Taoist, there is no need to say more. This is definitely one of the three wastelands. Otherwise, it is impossible for there to be so many spirit clan without intelligence. It is a pity that we do not know where this wasteland is. It is only in this mountain, and we do not know where it is. Huang Tong shook her head and said, It seems that we are at our wits' end. Let's invite everyone out first. Xiaohua said, Let's invite the Fortune Gate's fifth master. Ji. The phoenix parasol was invited out of the space by Xiaohua. Once it was out of the space, it immediately stretched out its neck and let out a long cry. As it flapped its wings, the star patterns on its wings lit up, and it fell into the sky and turned into a clear star. Swoosh! The originally dusky sky suddenly darkened. The starry sky seemed to have been forcibly pulled out by a big hand. One after another, the stars twinkled with different colors of starlight, revealing themselves. As for the two suns, they were now two huge outlines. One had orange edges, and the other had golden edges. Opposite the two suns were the outlines of three full moons. Similarly, one had blue edges, one had purple edges, and the last one had dark gold edges. Then, boom boom boom. Huge rumbling sounds rang out in the surrounding 10,000 miles. Pillars of starlight and moonlight fell from the sky, landing on the phoenix parasol's body. The phoenix parasol's demonic body suddenly expanded again. Moreover, as it expanded, the phoenix parasol's demonic beast body became thinner, as if it was melting under the power of the stars and moon. Layers of desolate aura, more ferocious than mountains and seas, rushed out in all directions. Chapter 4783. Huang Tong was stunned and exclaimed, Phoenix Sage. What kind of aphrodisiac did she take? Why is she so fierce? Looking at the star pillar that descended from the sky, the faint star patterns were as beautiful as fluttering feathers. Xiaohua already knew what Fengwu had encountered. He hurriedly waved his hand and said, Let's go. This is not something we can interfere with. It's better to leave first. Caw. Another proud cry of a phoenix resounded from the phoenix Wu's nearly transparent body. A terrifying aura rushed into the world along with the cry of the phoenix. When this sound fell into Huang Tong's ears, Huang Tong was terrified as if she had seen a ghost. Without waiting for Xiaohua to say anything, she immediately flapped her wings and flew into the distance. Then Xiaohua, Thunder Immortal and Buddha Maitreya also urged their figures to leave. While Xiaohua and the others were flying away, somewhere in the sky of the 10,000 demon realm, There was a mysterious place. This place was originally overflowing with clear light. Layers of mysterious laws of heaven and earth flowed around the clear light like fish. Under this clear light, there was probably a place thousands of miles away. A colorful phoenix flapped its wings and really swept across the sky. It was at this moment that the originally flowing clear light suddenly cracked like a bubble. At the same time, 9-colored light gushed out like a fountain and spread in all directions. The laws of the world condensed into clusters of heavenly flowers in the 9-colored light, and went against the flow to crash into the cracked void. Boom! A dull roar came from the void. Circles of space waves more violent than the waves of the sea slammed into the heaven and earth. The 5-colored phoenix that was originally like a meteor across the sky was immediately attracted by this strange phenomenon. After the waves rushed over, a simple-looking crown suddenly appeared on the 5-colored phoenix's phoenix head. The 5-colored phoenix's figure immediately stopped in midair. She raised her head in shock and looked at the almost invisible place. She exclaimed, "Ah! The Holy List has appeared? Could it be that another great saint has appeared in the 10,000 demon realm?" After the 5-colored phoenix exclaimed, she looked left and right, and a mysterious smile appeared on her face. She muttered to herself, "Haha, what a coincidence. I happened to pass by the saint ranking today, and I'm the first one to see it. I want to see which spirit tribe has produced a great sage." While speaking, the 5-colored phoenix let out a clear cry, flapped its wings, and disappeared into the void. When it reappeared, it was already not far away from the 9-colored flowing light. And at this time in the 9-colored void, a massive stone tablet was slowly reaching out from the dark void. The void was inexplicably strange, and the stone tablet emitted a boundless aura. Every inch the stone tablet reached out, space would collapse a little. Layers of profound meanings fell into space, forming a prison that was 1,000 miles wide. It was this prison that kept the 5-colored phoenix outside of the stone tablet. Outside of the prison, the stone tablet looked like a huge monster. Only the 9-colored flashes could be seen, and its true appearance could not be seen clearly. The 5-colored phoenix waited for a moment. Demonic aura surged around her, and the feathers on her wings shone brilliantly. When the brilliance and demonic aura rushed into the crown on her head, the crown also glowed with a brilliance similar to the 9 colors. Woo! The brilliance fell into the prison, and a whirlwind was born from the prison. It fell on the body of the 5-colored phoenix, and immediately imprisoned her. The 5-colored phoenix that was imprisoned was no longer the size of 1,000 feet. From the outside, she looked like a small sparrow. The 5-colored phoenix fell into the prison, and was met with the majestic will of heaven and earth. More than half of the huge stone tablet had been revealed, and a huge saint was gradually appearing on the surface of the stone tablet. Most of the aura that suppressed the 5-colored phoenix was emitted from the word saint. Hiss! The 5-colored phoenix felt such a surging aura, and could not help but gasp. She almost cried out in surprise. Why? Why is the aura of the Holy List so strong this time? This great saint that is about to be born. What is his strength? Could it be that he can surpass the confinement of heaven and earth in my 10,000 demon realm? Boom, boom, boom. Before the 5-colored phoenix's surprised voice could land, the stone tablet was completely revealed. The entire prison was trembling, and the 5-colored phoenix's body could not help but sway. Although the 5-colored phoenix could not stand firmly in midair, her phoenix eyes were still staring at the gradually disappearing word saint on the stone tablet. She wanted to see what kind of monster appeared in the 10,000 demon realm, to have such momentum. Ka. Just as the word saint disappeared, the laws of heaven and earth were born in the void. The laws of heaven and earth condensed into lightning, and the entire stone tablet was trembling. A line of words that stunned the 5-colored phoenix appeared on the stone tablet. This is impossible? One could see that the stone wall was already densely covered with names. Each name emitted an aura that looked down on the world. However, when the words that were even blacker and heavier than the strange names appeared, the aura of all the names was suppressed. This row of words was, Feng Wu of the Phoenix Clan. How is this possible? How is this possible? The 5-colored phoenix was incoherent. A great saint appeared in the phoenix tribe. Why? Why didn't I know? Of course, in just a moment, the five-colored phoenix calmed down. She immediately understood and whispered, "This great saint of the phoenix tribe must not be from the 10,000 demon realm. He must be from the outer realm. No, could it be? This phoenix Wu is him? Could it be that he has returned? No, I must find this phoenix Wu Grand Sage before the fire phoenix Grand Sage." As she spoke, the five-colored phoenix hurriedly moved her body, trying to escape from the space sealed by the saint ranking. However, at this moment, something strange happened again. Rumble! Countless tiny fluctuations rushed out from the heavens and earth like lightning, rushing into the stone tablet like tadpoles looking for their mother. Kacha! Under the impact of this impact, cracks actually appeared on the stone tablet. Ah! The holy list is broken? The five-colored phoenix's expression changed drastically. She stopped in her tracks and stared at the stone tablet with even more disbelief than before. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Another huge rumbling sound was emitted from the empty space. Layers of unknown pitch-black aura surged out from the empty space and landed on the stone tablet. The cracks on the stone wall quickly disappeared. Moreover, the tens of thousands of lightning bolts fell into the pitch-black aura and were quickly annihilated. When all the lightning bolts disappeared, the pitch-black aura had also completely disappeared. The five-colored phoenix looked at all this in confusion. This was a strange phenomenon that she had never seen or heard of before. Chapter 4784. Crack, crack, crack. Not long after the pitch-black aura disappeared, the laws of heaven and earth appeared in the void again. The laws of heaven and earth condensed into lightning, and the entire stone tablet trembled again. Then, another line of words appeared on the stone tablet. How is this possible? The five-colored phoenix could not remember how many times she said the same thing today. She just looked at the words on the stone tablet again, and was shocked. Because these words were, Dragon Clan Chi. Just these three words were enough to knock the five-colored phoenix out. After half a cup of tea's time, she came back to her senses and screamed as if she had seen a ghost. Since when did the Dragon Clan exist in the 10,000 demon realm? How is this possible? At this point, she no longer hesitated and hurriedly moved her body out of the range of the saint rankings. She looked around and thought to herself, needless to say, the great sage of the Dragon Clan and the great sage of the Phoenix Clan must have come to the 10,000 demon realm hand in hand. This will definitely set off endless waves in the 10,000 demon realm. At this time, the great sages of the various clans have not received the news of the saint rankings. I must find it as soon as possible. Just as the five-colored phoenix was about to move her body, suddenly, her body shook again. She looked at the sky in the southwest and asked curiously, "Why is there such a strange fluctuation of stars and moon in the Bobo wasteland?" Hiss. In just a moment, the five-colored phoenix understood again and sucked in a breath of cold air. Today is really strange. This must be that Phoenix Wu and Dragon Clan Chi advancing into the Great Sage Realm. They have not completely advanced. How can they leave their names on the saint rankings? If so, it could really be that person. I remember that he said something a long time ago. Something secret. Forget it. Quickly send a message to the Phoenix Palace and ask the Phoenix Emissary to go to the Bobo Wasteland at all costs. Maybe we can find the two great sages before the other saints. Then, the five-colored phoenix moved away from the saint rankings and went to give the order that as for Xiao Hua and the others, they flew for half an hour before they escaped from the terrifying aura. Damn it. Huang Tong cursed in her heart. Could this be the legendary Supreme Demon Phoenix in the Xianyuan space? Why is he here? Inside the body of the Phoenix Wu? Demonic Sovereign Phoenix? Xiao Hua's heart stirred, and he asked in a low voice, "What exactly is this demonic Sovereign Phoenix?" "I'm not too sure either. It's just a legendary evil phoenix." Huang Tong replied carefully in her heart. The legendary evil phoenix is rare in the world, but it is also arrogant and unruly. It does not submit to anyone. In its eyes there is no right or wrong, only power. Of course, because of this he also suffered a lot. They were banished from the clan, and even hunted down by their enemies. However, he doesn't care about these things at all. Wait until he succeeds in his cultivation and defeats all the elders in the clan. Then trample the patriarch beneath his feet. Huang Tong briefly told the story of how the evil phoenix became the leader of the demon clan. In the end, she said, the problem is that there are no demon clan members in the Xianyuan space. Who knows where this story came from? Earlier, I thought that it was just a legend. However, the aura of the phoenix parasol just now truly made me feel terrified. That was why I couldn't help but think of this legend. Sigh, all of them have extraordinary backgrounds. Xiaohua smiled bitterly as he looked at the colorful night sky in the distance. He did not know what to say as he looked at the Thunder Immortal who was closing his eyes to comprehend. Lightning once again appeared around his body, and he said, "Fellow Taoist, why don't you come down and comprehend it properly? We'll wait here for you. What do you think?" "All right." The Thunder Immortal did not open his eyes. His figure flashed, and he landed on the peak of a mountain not far away. Bolts of lightning soared into the sky, covering nearly 1,000 miles around him. Namo Maitreya Buddha. The Maitreya Buddha was somewhat enlightened. He put his palms together and said, "Bodhisattva, the laws of heaven and earth in the demon realm are too obvious. I'm afraid that every Tanyu who comes out has to be baptized by the laws of heaven and earth?" "Yes." Xiaohua nodded. The laws of heaven and earth in the demon realm are more shallow than those in the 4 major continents. Furthermore, the brilliance of the stars and moon is extremely abundant, causing the chi of heaven and earth to be abundant. This is really useful for cultivation. Furthermore, when I entered the realm barrier of the demon realm previously, it was also washed by the laws of heaven and earth. The laws of the demon realm, the 4 major continents, and the immature realm all affected the Shenhua continent. Therefore, it is easy for fellow Taoists to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth here. Who is the one after Sage Phoenix? Huang Tong asked worriedly. Naturally, it's the 6th elder, Taoist witch. Xiaohua looked around and said, "Let's talk after we're 1,000 miles away." Huang Tong's worry was unnecessary. Taoist witch flew out of the space without any changes. Not to mention the laws of heaven and earth. Even his figure was similar to the 4 major continents. Why are you so calm?" Xiaohua asked, puzzled. Taoist witch smiled slightly. "It's just a barren land. Why are you panicking?" Taoist witch's words were of course a joke, because in a moment, Xiaohua had already told Taoist witch everything that had happened. Taoist witch was born from the shaman, and had nothing to do with the laws of heaven and earth in the demon realm. Therefore, it was normal that there were no changes. Xiaohua was making a fuss over nothing. Since fellow Taoist which doesn't like the demon realm, I'm sure the 7th elder of the Fortune Gate doesn't like it either. Xiaohua said and invited Taoist witch out of the space. Boom boom boom. Just as Taoist witch's dragon body landed in the sky, there was a sudden roar between heaven and earth. The space within 10,000 miles was instantly sealed. Tens of millions of pale golden rings emerged from the void, and these rings carried the laws of heaven and earth that Xiaohua was familiar with. They surged and pounced on Taoist witch. What's going on? Xiaohua was shocked. Although the rings did not land on Xiaohua, Huang Tong, Taoist witch, Maitreya Buddha, and the world-honored one, the 4 of them were restrained by the laws of heaven and earth. They could not even move. Taoist witch sneered. His voice couldn't be heard outside the sealed space, and could only be heard faintly in Xiaohua's heart. What else could it be? The laws of heaven and earth in this space don't allow the dragon clan to appear. I appeared here, so naturally, I'm suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth. Damn it, no wonder there are no dragon clan in the demon realm. So that's why. Xiaohua came to his senses, but for a moment he was puzzled again. That's not right. The little white dragon just came out. Why is he fine? Give it a tip, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4785. Speaking of this, Xiaohua suddenly thought of something and said, "That's right. Little White Dragon is originally a python from the demon realm. Perhaps the law of heaven and earth has no effect on him?" But fellow Taoist, what should we do now? I can't put you into my space anymore. Don't be afraid. Although Reverend Yun was a little panicked, his tone was still calm. The law of heaven and earth only targets the dragon clan in the demon realm. I's dragon body has already surpassed the demon realm, that as Reverend Yun spoke, the pale golden rings had already landed on his body. Each ring corresponded to a dragon scale on his body. Obviously, the places where the rings landed could completely suppress Reverend Yun, and even wipe out his soul. Boom, boom, boom. Strange ripples spread out, completely tearing the void apart. One after another, the will of heaven and earth, which was even more vast than mountains, fell into the rings. The rings gradually blurred, forming the outline of the law of heaven and earth, which condensed together and slowly fell down. Of course, Xiaohua was also in this outline. They had already sensed the pressure of the entire heaven and earth, and there was no way for them to fight back. Ayo! At this moment, Reverend Yun let out a dragon roar. A bright light suddenly flashed between his 5 claws, and the Pangu axe appeared. Swoosh! A shocking light flashed. Crack! A sound rang in Xiaohua's ears, but the entire demon realm seemed to be trembling. All the outlines of the law of heaven and earth were split in half. The laws of heaven and earth were shattered. The tens of thousands of broken rings were revealed. However, at the same time when the rings were revealed, thousands of tiny ripples emerged from the cracks of the rings. As the ripples fell into the air, they condensed into the appearance of a strange sacred beast. This sacred beast was emitting an aura that the entire heaven and earth could not bear. Not to mention the distortion of the void. Even the light and shadow could not reveal the true appearance of this sacred beast. After the sacred beast appeared, it immediately pounced on Reverend Yun. Reverend Yun's dragon body faded like an ink painting, fading away in the space at an extremely fast speed. Not only that, all of Xiaohua's incarnations were breaking into pieces, rushing toward Xiaohua's true body, that a kind of absolute darkness, a kind of absolute fear, and an irresistible power appeared from this vague holy beast will. It destroyed many of Xiaohua's avatars and even attacked Xiaohua's main body. Facing such an opponent, Xiaohua was powerless to fight back. Just like Reverend Yun, his entire golden avatar began to vanish from the soles of his feet, arms, and other parts of his body. A shadow of death quickly spread across Xiaohua's entire body like a shadow of light and twilight. In other words, when the twilight covered the back of Xiaohua's head, the crystal-like divine spark immediately emitted a resplendent brilliance. Strands of tenacious power of faith were born, and like seeds, they blocked the cover of the twilight. Then the entire crystal quaked. Roar! Reverend Luobu's dragon roar, Feng Wu and Huang Tong's phoenix cry, Xiaohua's long howl, and billions of worshippers' chants. A bright wave appeared and crushed the deathly twilight, spreading out in all directions. Wherever the light passed, Xiaohua's golden avatar was born, and all his avatars were restored. Reverend Yun's dragon avatar was also completed like a finishing touch. Boom! When the light fell into the holy beast will, the aura that suppressed the heaven and earth was crushed, and the entire holy beast will was wiped out. Then, it turned into fine lines and was crushed by the light. Ka. At the same time when the fine lines were crushed, all the rings were completely broken. An overwhelming wave evolved from the rings and rushed out in all directions of the 10,000 demon realm. After the wave passed, the broken laws of heaven and earth turned into 2 halves of the pale golden rings. The broken void formed a huge whirlpool, and the broken rings flickered and were about to fall into the whirlpool. Since you're here, don't think about leaving. Reverend Yun laughed ferociously. The dragon patterns on his body shone brightly, and the dragon scales flashed brilliantly, trying to absorb the broken rings. Swoosh! When each of the dragon scales had absorbed half of the pale golden rings, the dragon patterns on Reverend Yun's body were greatly reduced, as if he had reached his limit. Haha! Xiaohua came back to his senses and laughed. If that's the case, I won't hold back. While speaking, Xiaohua's mind rolled and absorbed most of the rings into his space. I want some too. Huang Tong's eyes turned red. She flapped her wings and absorbed 10% of the rings into her body. Daoist Witch glanced at Methria Buddha, who did not move, and said, If you don't need them, I will take some for fellow Taoist lay. Namo Methriya Buddha, please. Methriya Buddha replied and raised his hand. With a wave of Taoist witch's sleeve, the rest of the rings were collected. Xiaohua took the rings and did not hesitate. First, he gave one to each of the 100 or so 8th tribulation and semi-nascent soul cultivators. They had just passed the minor heavenly tribulation, and the broken laws of heaven and earth were great supplements. The laws of heaven and earth that had condensed into the shape of a ring disappeared, and the whirlpool in the void slowly disappeared as well. The absolute suppression also disappeared without a trace. Xiaohua looked at the quiet night sky in a daze. What he saw just now was like a dream. Reverend Yun's dragon body swayed and transformed into his human form. He landed in front of Xiaohua and said embarrassedly, "Fellow Taoist Xiao, I have used the Pangu axe. I'm afraid I won't be able to use it again for the next few decades. It might delay your plan." It's okay. Xiaohua hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Even if the Pangu axe can't do it, there's still the devil's saber. It can also break the demon formation. And if you don't use the Pangu axe, I'm afraid all of us will be suppressed. It's impossible not to use it. Oh, right this. The laws of heaven and earth should be man-made, right?" "Of course." Reverend Yun nodded and replied, "When I broke the golden rings, the image of the sacred beast was revealed. But as for who it is, I don't know. It's not hard to guess. It could be the enemy of the dragon clan in the demon realm, or the enemy of the dragon realm in the upper realm. Judging from the danger just now, fellow Taoist's axe should have broken not only the shackles, but also the laws." Xiaohua asked tentatively. Reverend Yun said proudly, "Of course, if it was an ordinary dragon, it would have broken the shackles. But what I broke was the laws of heaven and earth." Xiaohua smiled bitterly with lingering fear and said, "Fellow Taoist, how could I not know that you are so fierce? It was too dangerous just now. When the Pangu axe broke the shackles, it touched the laws of heaven and earth. If it weren't for the mysterious items we have today, we wouldn't have a good ending." Huang Tong also nodded and said, "Fellow Taoist Xiao, the laws of heaven and earth are not the real laws of heaven and earth. They are only a punishment attached to the laws of heaven and earth." Reverend Yun took the opportunity when the punishment triggered the suppression of the laws of heaven and earth. He used the Pangu axe to cut off the connection between the punishment force and the laws of heaven and earth. It can be said that he changed the laws of heaven and earth in the demon realm. It was because of the change in the laws of heaven and earth that the sacred beast of punishment appeared. Fellow Taoist's divine punishment force blocked the sacred beast's attack, and even counterattacked. Presumably, from now on, this punishment won't work anymore. Give it a reward, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4786. I get it now. Only dragons like Reverend Yin, who are beyond the realm of 10,000 demon realm, can touch the law of heaven and earth. Xiaohua nodded. And only the power of God's punishment can change the law of heaven and earth. Didn't the dragon palace of the four seas send some dragons? Why don't you take them out and try? Reverend Yun smiled. All right. Xiaohua waved the Kunlun mirror and sent one of the dragons out. When the dragon landed in the space, his body expanded rapidly, and the pale golden ring did not appear. Xiaohua knew that the law of heaven and earth was broken. Then he shook the Kunlun mirror and sent the strange dragon into the space. Xiaohua suddenly laughed. I know why the little white dragon got the dragon jade so easily. Reverend Yin smiled. Is there a need to say? The dragon who took the dragon jade must have escaped to 10,000 demon realm by chance. As soon as he landed, he was suppressed by the law of heaven and earth. So the dragon jade was lost in 10,000 demon realm. But the problem is, Xiaohua smiled. The dragon jade was placed in the dragon's dragon shell. How could he take the dragon jade out of the dragon shell when he was suppressed? Reverend Yin was stunned. Then he shook his head and said, I don't know. Please enlighten me. I don't know either. Without giving Reverend Yin any time to think, Xiaohua said with a smile, Let's invite 8th Master and 9th Master to come out. I don't think the laws of heaven and earth in myriad demon realm can affect them. Sure enough, the celestial being and demon lordship fell into the space and did not change at all. The two clones looked at the huge Xiaohua inexplicably. Even more inexplicably than Long Jiang, who just flashed by in the 10,000 demon realm. Xiaohua was a little excited after escaping from death. He told them what happened just now and the situation in 10,000 demon realm. The celestial being and demon lordship were also happy. Fellow Taoist. Reverend Yin waited for Xiaohua to finish and said, "When the law of heaven and earth killed I saw a lot of things. I have comprehended many different mysteries, and now I have a clue. I want to go into seclusion for a while." Namo Mithriya. Namo Mithriya chanted. Amitba, there is great horror in life and death. I also saw the mysteries of reincarnation. Huang Tong looked at the law of heaven and earth. And Thunder Immortal is comprehending the law of heaven, and we can't leave now. Now that the power of God's punishment is still spreading in the 10,000 demon realm. Let's retreat here. The celestial being and demon lordship hurriedly said the law of heaven, and demon lordship Yun said this. Xiaohua was a little hesitant. He was really anxious to find the space passage to the Dawn Rain continent, but he did not expect that there would be so many changes as soon as he arrived at the 10,000 demon realm. Yin Yan where he yun. Thousand heaven. Fellow Taoist. Huang Tong said faintly. The human race has a saying that if a worker wants to do a good job, he must first sharpen his tools. Previously, I've already met a mutated beast that exceeded the 9th level of elemental energy. We might meet you again in the future. Now we have a chance to break through. Although we are delayed here, we can go further in the future. We can go to Dawn Rain continent. Let's set 10 years as the limit. Xiaohua thought for a moment and said to the celestial being and demon lord Shi Yun. 10 years later, no matter if we come out or not, wake us up. Okay. The clones all agreed and looked for a suitable place to cultivate. Xiaohua and the others were in seclusion. The saint ranking of 10,000 demon realm was very lively. A few days after the phoenix left, a wave of eagle cries that shook the sky resounded repeatedly. After that, a violent gale surged out as a 3 kilometers long goshawk flapped its wings and flew over. The goshawk descended near the confinement, and it had just put its wings away when the space in the distance collapsed. A ray of golden light pierced out from the void, and then an ape demon that was even larger than the goshawk leaped out from the spatial rift. As soon as the ape came out of the void, he laughed and said, "Great Eagle King, didn't you go to Liaoyang Mountain? Why did you suddenly come back?" The Great Eagle King's eyes flashed like a sword piercing through the void. His voice was very sharp as he looked at the ferocious saint ranking above him and said coldly, "The saint ranking of 10,000 demon realm hasn't appeared for many years. Today it appeared again without any warning. How can I not come and take a look?" As he spoke, the Great Eagle King completely ignored the ape demon. Cold light surged out from his body, and a crown similar to the 5-colored phoenix appeared. As the whirlwind descended, the Great Eagle King charged into the saint ranking seal. However, the moment the seal closed, the Great Eagle King's extremely shocked voice faintly sounded from the crack. "Oh." The ape demon was curious and laughed. "What's wrong? Could it be that this saint ranking demon is an old grudge of the Great Eagle King?" With that, the ape demon waved his hands and a golden light shot out. The golden light soared into the sky and landed on the ape demon's head like water. A crown was about to form. "Great Ape King." A rough voice came from the horizon. "Wait a moment." Oh. The ape demon named Great Ape King was stunned. He turned his head and looked into the distance, only to see the 5-colored flames surging. Another phoenix was walking over on fire. "Haha, Fire Wind King, you're late." Great Ape King seemed to have a very good relationship with this phoenix. He smiled and said, "The Great Eagle King is already here." The phoenix named Fire Wind King turned into a ray of fire and landed in front of Great Ape King. She glanced at the shrunken Great Eagle King and coldly said, "This isn't about stealing the saint fruit. If he wants to come early, then so be it. What does it have to do with me? Does looking at the saint ranking mean he can live a few more years?" Golden light flashed in the Great Ape King's eyes. He clapped his palms together and laughed. The Fire Phoenix King is indeed open-minded. If the colorful Phoenix King was here, she definitely wouldn't have allowed the Great Eagle King to enter the Saint rankings so early. She is her, I am me. Fire Wind King glanced at Great Ape King and asked, Great Ape King, let me ask you, do you have any news about Demon King Emosa's beloved concubine? Oh. Great Ape King paused and glanced at Fire Wind King with a smile on his face. Fire Wind King, could it be that you secretly like that little swan? Fire Wind King didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How could I like Demon King Emosa's beloved concubine? That's not necessarily true. Great Ape King smiled. Only the little swan is allowed to have a crush on the Great Sage of the Spirit Tribe, but the Great Sage of the Phoenix Palace is not allowed to have a crush on the little swan. Give it a tip, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4787. Oh, looks like you already know about this. Flaming Phoenix King fell into deep thought. She looked at Great Ape King and said in a low voice, If that's the case, you should know that this has caused a huge uproar in the Huatian and Song Plains realms. Great Sage Yin Xian is furious and has already agreed to Demon King Moss's request. However, the Swift Cherry Grand Sage can't bear to do so, but she can't disrespect Yin Xian either. That's why she secretly sent me a message, asking me to contact the Heavenly Blessing Palace and find little swan Xian Wan. Tisich. Great Ape King was displeased. You're such a busybody. You're not an origin Great Sage. If you don't go to the origin race, then how could the Swift Cherry Grand Sage? Great Ape King's eyes suddenly lit up. He laughed. Haha, I understand now. So that's your plan. You don't have little swan in your heart, but that origin race. Go. Flaming Phoenix King's expression changed slightly. Before Great Ape King could finish, she flapped her wings and sent him tumbling in the air. She laughed and scolded. It's fine if you say that in front of me, but if the Swift Cherry Grand Sage hears you, she'll skin you alive. Let her come? Great Ape King stood in the air. He wasn't angry. He yelled, I want to see who's stronger. Just as he said that, a snow-white brilliance appeared in the distance. Then, an indescribably cold aura came from that direction. The Great Ape King glanced over and sneered. Hee, the Swift Cherry Grand Sage didn't come, but the Snow Wolf King came first. Let's go, I can't be bothered with her dead face. Then, a crown appeared on Great Ape King's head again. The Saint ranking seal fell, and a whirlwind enveloped Great Ape King and imprisoned him. The Fire Phoenix King didn't seem to like paying attention to the Snow Wolf King either. She spread her wings, and flames rushed into the top of her head. Unfortunately, before the crown was born, the five-colored phoenix that was the first to reach the ground broke through the air again in the opposite direction of the Snow Wolf King. Oh, Flaming Phoenix King? The five-colored phoenix was surprised to see Flaming Phoenix King. You're here to see the Saint ranking too? You didn't go to the origin race? Fire Phoenix King looked at Rainbow Phoenix and said, Rainbow Phoenix King, I can go wherever I want. It has nothing to do with you. It's all right, it's all right. The colorful Phoenix King flapped its wings. Light overflowed, and a crown appeared. I've come here to see where the Great Sage has appeared. The appearance of the Saint ranking this time is too strange. Fire Phoenix King didn't suspect anything. She revealed her crown and a whirlwind appeared. She said, It seems that no one from the spirit clans has appeared recently. You'll know when you see it. As the colorful Phoenix King spoke, her figure had already rushed into the confinement of the Saint rankings, and the Fire Phoenix King followed after her. Although the colorful Phoenix King had seen the Saint ranking before, she could not help but cry out in surprise when her gaze landed on the Saint ranking. Beside her, Fire Phoenix King opened her mouth wide and couldn't close it for a long time. She said to herself, How is this possible? Yeah, how is that possible? Why are there so many great sages? The colorful Phoenix King sighed and stared at the Saint ranking. No one knew what she was thinking. Because on the Saint ranking, in addition to the Phoenix clan's Feng Wu and Dragon clan's Ho that she had seen before, there were a few lines of uncanny handwriting below them. Human clan's Xiaohua, Spirit clan's Lei, Spirit clan's Bodhi, Phoenix clan's Huang Tong, Human clan? A snow-white giant wolf just came in from outside the confinement of the Saint ranking. The giant wolf's face was as cold as ice, but at this moment, he was extremely surprised. When did the human clan come to our 10,000 demon realm? The surprise in his voice was exceptionally obvious. Although his voice wasn't loud, it meant that he was more surprised than the colorful Phoenix King. It must be the human clan from the outside world. The Great Ape King looked at the saint ranking not far away and said indifferently. However, after a moment, the Great Ape King looked at the giant wolf in surprise. Snow Wolf King, the human clan is secondary. Didn't you see? The Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan actually appeared in our 10,000 demon realm. This is the biggest joke in the world. What? Why can't the Dragon Clan appear in our 10,000 demon realm? The Snow Wolf King asked curiously. Is there a secret behind this? The Great Ape King suddenly realized that he had said something wrong and stole a glance at the Fire Phoenix King. The Fire Phoenix King also looked at him with a reproachful gaze. The Great Ape King shrunk his neck and said coldly, "How would I know? Don't tell me I can't even speak?" Everyone. The Great Eagle King was the first to come in. He glanced at the great saints and said, "Needless to say, these must be the 6 experts from the outside world. I just don't know where they came from, and why they came to our 10,000 demon realm. And where are they now? If they came from the outside world, they must have come a long time ago. Otherwise, it would be impossible for them to surpass the heaven realm." The colorful Phoenix King said seriously. Only by cultivating in our 10,000 demon realm for a long time can they reach such a realm, right? Not necessarily. The Fire Phoenix King shook her head and looked at the names Huang Tong and Feng Wu. She said, "If the Phoenix clan came from the outside world, I would definitely be able to sense it. At this point, the Fire Phoenix King looked at the colorful Phoenix King and said, "Colorful Phoenix King, could it be that you could sense it in the Phoenix Shrine?" Do you think it's possible? The colorful Phoenix King sneered. "If the Phoenix Shrine can sense it, can't your Phoenix God Palace? That's not right." The Great Ape King looked at the saint ranking strangely and said, "Why is the great saint of the Phoenix clan called Huang Tong? Huang Tong should be from the Phoenix clan, right?" That's true. The colored Phoenix King and the Fire Phoenix King also stopped arguing at this time. They looked at each other and were a little puzzled. However, the colored Phoenix King thought for a while and said with a smile, "The holy ranking can't be wrong. Since it's the Phoenix clan, it definitely isn't the Phoenix clan. Presumably, the Phoenix clan from the outside world is different from the Phoenix clan in our 10,000 demon realm. It can also be called Huang Tong. That's the only way." The Fire Phoenix King felt a little uneasy. After all, there were 2 great saints of the Phoenix clan in the 10,000 demon realm. This was a great threat to his position. He even felt that the Phoenix clan from the outside world had some grudges with the Phoenix God Palace. The Snow Wolf King spoke again. "There is indeed something wrong with the saint ranking today. The names of the 6 great saints have been engraved. Why haven't they taken it back?" Without waiting for the saints to speak, a majestic voice sounded from the edge of the confinement. "Needless to say, there must be other great saints whose names have not been engraved." Great Saint Yuanxian is here?" When the Snow Wolf King and the others heard this, a smile appeared on their faces. They rushed towards the source of the voice and smiled. "Greetings, Great Saint Yuanxian." At the source of the voice, a golden brilliance appeared. A 3-legged golden crow stepped out from the brilliance. The huge golden crow's body was suffused with endless heat and golden light. Layers of vast aura distorted the void. Because of the distortion of the light, the 3-legged golden crow's figure seemed unreal. "Everyone please rise." As the great Saint Yuanxian spoke, he flapped his wings and helped the saints up. At this moment, after the heat from the 3-legged golden crow's burning breath, there was a heart-piercing chill. A huge moonlight revealed a clear mist, and a jade rabbit with a dark green body stepped out of the mist. "Greetings, Rapid Cherry Grand Saint." The great saints did not have time to get up. They hurriedly bowed again, especially the Fire Phoenix King. She had a smile on her face as her gaze fell on the gentle and beautiful face of the Rapid Cherry Grand Saint. "You are all too polite." the rapid cherry grand saint said with a smile. He also helped the saints up. When his gaze fell on the saint ranking, his smile immediately froze on his face. He said in shock, "How is this possible? The dragon clan and the human clan. Why are they in the 10,000 demon realm?" Rapid cherry grand saint. The three-legged golden crow said unhappily, "It's the great saints of the dragon clan and the human clan, not the dragon clan and the human clan." Sai Yuan Xian. The rapid cherry grand saint sighed. "The dragon clan's great saint is here. Is the dragon clan far away? The human clan's great saint is here. I'm afraid the human clan has already appeared in the 10,000 demon realm. The 10,000 demon realm is about to change." The Snow Wolf King said faintly, "I'm afraid the 10,000 demon realm will no longer belong to the spirit clan." "That's right." Yuan Xian nodded. "I heard that the human clan in other realms reproduces very quickly. They are also very intelligent, completely different from the demon clan. It seems that every human clan member can become a saint. Moreover, the human clan's cultivation method is also tyrannical and greedy." The great ape king agreed. "They are like locusts that steal the heaven and earth spirit chi. They want the heaven and earth for their own use. No, we can't let the human clan survive in the 10,000 demon realm." Yuan Xian roared. Flames shot up into the sky. Yuan Xian, there's no need for that. The rapid cherry grand saint said softly, "I heard that the human clan's physical body is very weak. They are no match for the strange beasts. Even if they want to survive in the 10,000 demon realm, I'm afraid they can't avoid the attacks of the strange beasts, let alone reproduce and cultivate. Moreover, this human clan great sage is with the dragon clan, the phoenix clan, and the unknown spirit clan. So what if there are 6 great sages?" Yuan Xian said coldly. "The great sages of the 10,000 demon realm are no weaker than them. Fire Phoenix King can't defeat Fengwu. Colorful Phoenix King can't defeat Huang Tan. Not to mention the great sages here. Even the striped Tiger King and the leopard whale king can kill these newly advanced great sages." The rapid cherry grand saint shook his head. He looked at the holy ranking and hesitated. What kind of spirit clan is this? Why didn't the holy ranking say anything? Moreover, the holy ranking hasn't been retracted. Could there be other great sages who haven't been included? "Let's see," Yuan Xian said faintly. "What other great sages will appear?" Xiaohua and the others naturally didn't know that their whereabouts had been detected by the great sages of the 10,000 demon realm. They were still in seclusion. Vote, 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 donate. Thank you for all your support. Chapter 4788. Fortunately, it did not take 10 years, but only 6 years. The sound of wind and thunder sounded in the distance, as if the mountains were collapsing. The stars in the entire starry sky poured down like the Milky Way. After 9 days and 9 nights, the light expelled the darkness. With a clear sound, Feng Wu's figure crossed the sky and instantly landed in front of the celestial being. An extremely powerful aura mixed with the power of the stars and moon followed Feng Wu's wings and rippled in the sky. Xiaohua, who was hidden in the void, slowly floated out of the void at this time. The faint ripples in the void were like ripples in water. Xiaohua opened his eyes, neither happy nor sad. He looked at Feng Wu and nodded to the celestial being and demon venerable Shi. His figure flashed and rushed high into the sky. For a moment, only a black shadow could be seen. "Big brother." Huang Tong also flew out of seclusion and looked at Feng Wu with concern. "How do you feel?" "Not good." Feng Wu frowned. His right wing brushed over his head and whispered, "There seems to be some changes, but I can't tell what it is." "Big brother, could it be that Sky Phoenix did something?" Huang Tong was very worried. Feng Wu kept his wings and smiled. "Don't worry. Sky Phoenix's origin. He still doesn't mention it. I don't know if he is the legendary demon phoenix in the Xianyuan space. However, he has no evil intentions towards me. Just like when Little White Dragon cultivated in Brother Zhao's soul. It is a win-win situation. Of course, everything will come to light one day. Perhaps only then will we be able to know the reason for his visit." "That's good." Huang Tong flapped his wings and smiled. "Big brother's advancement has benefited me too. There are surprises every moment beside Big Brother and fellow cultivators. It is much better than the loneliness in the Xianyuan space. However, Fengwu was not as happy as Huang Tong. He frowned and said, I didn't want to advance. After all, I was already at the peak of the 9th level of elemental energy, which was the limit allowed by the laws of heaven and earth in the 3 continents. Now that I'm in the 10,000 demon realm, the laws of heaven and earth here are different, and I can't control it myself. Tianfeng must seize every opportunity to increase her strength. Today, although he had only imprinted the star pattern of the 10,000 demon realm into his body, and did not fully comprehend it, but his strength had already surpassed the original 9th grade. With our current strengths, it's probably not easy for us to return to Dawn Rain continent. Even as Fengwu was speaking, a loud boom rang out. 10,000 miles diagonally in front of them, a loud explosion was heard. Thousands of dragon energies transformed into the shape of a dragon and shot up into the sky like a fountain. When they condensed in the sky, a strange whirlwind came out of the void, sweeping away all the natural energies within 10,000 miles. Reverend Yun revealed his dragon form within the whirlwind. As he stretched his neck and let out a long cry, a loud and clear dragon roar shook the entire area. Sigh, Reverend Yun has also surpassed the 9th tier of origin energy by too much. Huang Tong sighed. Fengwu looked up at the 9-colored sky in the sky, and a wry smile appeared on her face. That's not all. If we are already like this, Daoist Xiao is even more so. For the sake of the 3 continents, Daoist Xiao has been suppressing his realm. Now that we have all advanced and surpassed the rules of heaven and earth, he must have reached the 10th tier of origin energy. Huang Tong nodded. Buzz. 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 Somewhere on the ground, a rumbling sound was heard. The mountains shook, and thick bolts of lightning came out of the void and fell into the Thunderbolt Immortal, who was sitting cross-legged on the peak of the mountain. The Thunderbolt Immortal's body completely turned into lightning, and then he transformed back into his human form. The Thunderbolt Immortal opened his mouth, and thousands of bolts of lightning entered his body. Haha, so this is the lightning profound of the 10,000 demon realm. The Thunderbolt Immortal laughed wildly as he flew up into the sky. With this profound, why should I be afraid of the heavenly tribulation of ascension? Namo Mithriya Buddha. Just as the Thunderbolt Immortal steadied himself, the Mithriya Buddha appeared beside him calmly. Unlike the Thunderbolt Immortal's arrogance, the Mithriya Buddha did not seem to have changed at all. The Thunderbolt Immortal landed in the sky, touched his head strangely and asked, Do you feel anything? Why do I feel like there's something on top of my head? But I can't see it with my divine sense or naked eyes. Fengwu looked at Spiritual Master Yun, and Spiritual Master Yun nodded slightly. Yes, I have this feeling too. It appeared when I broke through to the 9th grade of elemental energy. Namo Mithriya Buddha. The Mithriya Buddha chanted. I feel the same. It seems. This is a law of the 10,000 demon realm. Well, then don't bother about it. Fengwu flapped her wings and said, Let's look at Daoist Xiao. The clones looked up into the sky and saw layers of profound, either rushing into the sky, falling into the ground, or spreading in all directions. They had already understood. Huang Tong was surprised. Is Daoist Xiao using the art of divination? Well, the Mithriya Buddha raised his hand and said, Look at that brilliance. It has already revealed the karma of the 10,000 demon realm. Cough. Huang Tong coughed twice and smiled bitterly. The revered one, how can I see it? If you are talking about space splitting and soul devouring, I am the best at it. This karma Dao. It really doesn't make sense. Speaking of this, Huang Tong suddenly realized something. He hurriedly spread his wings and flew up. Runes appeared between his claws, and these runes were several times bigger in the 10,000 demon realm. Unfortunately, when Huang Tong tore the void and looked for a moment, he shook his head and retreated. He whispered, It still doesn't work. Then Huang Tong looked up into the sky and whispered, If I can't do it, Daoist Xiao, I'm afraid you can't do it either. Sure enough, in less than the time it took to eat a meal. Boom boom boom. The roar in the sky was loud, and thousands of brilliance were like fireworks. Xiaohua fell from the sky, and there was no sign of the magical power backfiring. Instead, his face was indifferent. He said, "Although I can see some of the 10,000 demon realms' karma, I don't know which direction to go or what the result will be. You and I are originally from the outside world. We have just come into the realm and have not touched the karma. Naturally, we can't see anything from the river of karma," the Maitreya Buddha said lightly. Xiaohua shook his head. "How can I's karma hand and Qingqiu Mountain's secret technique be so simple? It's just that I's cultivation is still shallow, so I can't see it." "What kind of magical power is that?" Huang Tong was about to faint. He shouted, "Daoist Xiao, you're already at the 10th grade and you still can't master it? Daoist Xiao will slowly find out. Also, you can use it in the future. But right now." Xiaohua smiled and took out some silver talismans from the space. He handed them to his clones and said, "Daoist Xiao, please put away these talismans from the immortal realm first. When we break through the void and enter the Dawn-Rain continent, we have to activate them. Otherwise, the Dawn-Rain continent's laws of heaven and earth will reject us. We can't even step into the Dawn-Rain continent, let alone break the immortal formation." "Understood." The clones all took the talismans. Then, everyone looked at each other. Finally, Huang Tong whispered, "Daoist Xiao, what should we do now?" "Let's go." Xiaohua pointed in a direction and said, "We'll go there." "Where is that?" Huang Tong was puzzled and asked curiously, "Daoist Xiao, did you find something just now?" "No." Xiaohua smiled. "I just pointed at it casually." Buddha Maitreya laughed. "Daoist Xiao, you're famous for your poor sense of direction, and your ability to find your way is also famous. I'm afraid you're already going in the opposite direction. Why don't you go in the opposite direction?" "Whatever. I don't care." Xiaohua shrugged. "I'm blind anyway. It's the same no matter where I go." "I agree with you, Buddha Maitreya." Reverend Yun smiled. "Daoist Xiao, you can trust everything except this. You can't. And you have to go in the opposite direction." "Haha." Xiaohua laughed and flew into the air. He pointed to his left and right and said, "Fellow Taoists, let's line up in a row and use the secret technique of spirit connection to expand the range of our vision. I don't believe we can't find the way to the Huatian realm." "You're wrong, Daoist Xiao." Reverend Yun laughed. "If we line up in a row, the range will be larger, but the connection between us will be less. If we encounter any danger, we won't be able to help each other. We can't use the formation of the 9 provinces grand formation to move forward. First, we can practice the formation, and second, if we encounter any danger, we can rush forward together." "Haha, that's right." Xiaohua laughed and flew into the air first. "I like to bully others with numbers the most. Woo-woo." The group of clones all urged their bodies, either moving forward or stopping, or moving left and right. When Feng Wu, who was in front of him, had already reached the edge of Xiaohua's mind, Xiaohua turned his head and said to Demon Sovereign Shi, "You replace Wen Chu and practice the 9 regions great formation with us." "Haha, thank you, big brother." Venerable Demon somersaulted in the air, and followed Xiaohua's flying figure to the left. Since Xiaohua wanted to set up the 9 provinces grand formation on the hidden immortal continent, he and the other 8 clones had to be in different provinces to spread the formation all over the hidden immortal continent. However, as the formation eye in each province was different, Xiaohua and the other 8 clones did not need to cover the entire hidden immortal continent when their minds were connected. Even so, the range that Xiaohua and the others had to cover was not small at all. Moreover, as Xiaohua, Reverend Yun, Feng Wu, Huang Tong, Reverend Thunder, and Buddha Maitreya's overall strength broke through the 9th tier to the 10th tier, Taoist Sorcerer, Venerable Demon, and Celestial also showed signs of breaking through the bottleneck. As a result, the range that their minds could cover was getting wider and wider as they flew. Chapter 4789. However, what made Xiaohua fearful was that as they flew, there was always a wasteland in front of them, and there was always an endless amount of powerful demonic beasts blocking their way. Because Xiaohua and the others didn't want to cause trouble, they had already released their 10th grade Essence Energy Aura. 9 10th grade Essence Energy Auras, Any demonic beast that wasn't strong enough didn't dare to reveal themselves. But even so, every 10 days or so, Xiaohua and the others would have to convince others with virtue. There were always some demonic beasts that exceeded 9th grade essence energy that didn't believe in heresy, and came out to block them. Towards these demonic beasts that had lived for who knows how many years, Xiaohua and the others wouldn't force them too much. As long as they could defeat them, they wouldn't be too ruthless. Unfortunately, demonic beasts were demonic beasts, not the spirit clan. Many of them didn't know when to advance or retreat, so Xiaohua and the others had to use their divine abilities. After refining the spirit-punishing vital light into the Yin-Yang Illustrated Handbook, it had completely changed. The green and red primordial light had already turned into black and white. And because it contained the essence of the 10th grade world exterminating mayfly's hind leg, the spirit-punishing vital light was incomparably sharp. If they didn't have an extremely special body, even 10th grade essence energy demonic beasts would inevitably be killed by the spirit-punishing vital light. Of course, the 10,000 demon realm was incomparably mysterious. Even if Xiaohua and the others were already 10th grade essence energy, there were still times when Feng Wu, who was leading the way, felt a powerful aura and hurriedly sent a message to hide. Everyone fled far away, and then continued to fly in that direction. Just like before, there were even more powerful demonic beasts that chased after them. In addition, Xiaohua originally liked to plunder everywhere, but after arriving at the 10,000 demon realm, because he was in a hurry, he didn't have this kind of thought. After killing some powerful demonic beasts, Xiaohua's thoughts moved again. While flying, he let the 8 doppelgangers do the same as him. Wherever they flew, no matter what kind of demonic fruit, demonic grass, or even some strange materials, as long as they saw it, they would put it into the space. It was as if they were scraping the ground 3 feet deep. In this way they flew for a full 3 years. Xiaohua himself was on the verge of collapse, because he clearly knew that if he chose the wrong direction, they would be flying towards the edge of the realm. That was a journey that would never end. Not just Xiaohua, even Feng Wu, who was flying in front of him, was doubtful. That was because 3 years of flying at full speed. How far could a great saint of the demon race who surpassed the 9th level of essence power fly in 3 years? Even he himself was not sure, because the 3 continents were definitely not that big. Not to mention, 3 years of time was enough for Xiaohua and the others, whose mental connection had already undergone a qualitative change, to undergo a transformation by leaps and bounds. Feng Wu believed that even if they returned to the 3 continents now, they still had a 50% chance of setting up the grand formation of the 9 states. Feng Wu activated his origin will and looked ahead. It was still the same unchanging wasteland. He couldn't help but feel dejected and said in his heart, "Fellow Taoists, should we change direction? We have been flying towards the so-called east for 3 years. No, it should be the southeast direction." Huang Tong was very sensitive to the direction and immediately corrected him. This. Xiaohua hesitated. If it was anything else, he could immediately make a decision. However, this was a problem of direction. For him who had no sense of direction, it was more difficult than giving birth. At this moment, Demon Lord Shi, celestial being, and Taoist which suddenly exclaimed in unison. Above the 3 clones, 3 different kinds of fluctuations suddenly appeared. Bursts of strange light and shadows appeared. These light and shadows were either blood pool demonic shadows, primordial scorching suns, or white bones standing in a forest. And when these light and shadows landed on the 3 clones, the light and shadows of 3 crowns flashed above the 3 clones' heads. Especially Demon Lord Shi and Taoist Witch, their crowns were so fast that they couldn't be seen. Xiaohua hurriedly asked, "Fellow Taoists, what's going on?" "Maybe." Demon Lord Shi hesitated and said, "Little brother has also broken through the 9th level of essence power? But little brother's strength seems to have already been in the primordial continent." Celestial being's loud voice interrupted Demon Lord Shi. "Fellow Taoist Xiao, I'm afraid that I have already advanced. In these 3 years, I have already sacrificially refined 90% of the 10,000 extinguishing celestial dipper." Taoist which also smiled and transmitted his voice. That's right, Ai's cultivation has also broken through the sorcerer realm. Now, I'm at the edge of the third heaven of the outer sky. It's just that Ai's vision is dark, and I can't find the door to the third heaven. Xiaohua wasn't too surprised by the three clones' advancement. After his joy, he said worriedly, "First, I'll congratulate you three fellow Taoists. But, at this moment, let's think if we should change our direction." Namo Maitreya. Maitreya Buddha of the world opened his mouth. "I'll tell you a story." "Oh, the world-honored one wants to tell a story? Quick, quick, I like to hear it the most." Demon Lord sure didn't know if he was flattering or really liked to hear it, but he was the first to applaud. "It's not really a story, it's said to be a true story." Maitreya Buddha of the world-honored one smiled and said, "This is what Samantabhadra Bodhisattva of Namo said. Back then, when he was enlightening the people in a certain realm, he met a very impatient person. This person wanted to pray for his parents, so the Bodhisattva taught him a heart sutra. He also told him that as long as he could recite it 100 times a day for 100 consecutive days, he would be able to dispel the illness of his parents. That person learned it happily and recited it 100 times at that time. The Bodhisattva saw that this person had the root of wisdom and liked him very much, so he secretly paid attention to him and was prepared to accept him as a disciple in the future. However, 100 days later, the Bodhisattva passed by here again, only to find that this person was still frowning. When he asked again, the Bodhisattva knew that this person's parents were not only not safe, but also seriously ill. The Bodhisattva didn't understand, because the Heart Sutra was correct, and this person was a filial person. How could it be useless? When he asked that person how to recite it, that person's answer made the Bodhisattva speechless. For the first 60 days, that person recited the Heart Sutra 100 times a day without any slack, but from the 61st day onwards, he saw that his parents' bodies were starting to show signs of illness, so he became suspicious and began to recite it less often. As he reduced the number of times, his parents' bodies became worse and worse. In the last 10 days, that person simply gave up on the Heart Sutra and began to seek help from medicinal stones. However, that person's parents were already old, and they met a quack doctor. The medicinal stones prescribed were all ferocious, and the more they took, the more harmful it was to their bodies. After the Bodhisattva heard this, he smiled bitterly and left after bestowing the spiritual medicine. When the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra of Namo mentioned this matter, he explained it to me like this. That person's parents had a hidden illness that ordinary doctors couldn't cure. This Heart Sutra was the right thing to do. Previously, when that person recited the Heart Sutra, it had already turned the hidden illness into an obvious illness. As long as he had enough confidence and continued to recite the Heart Sutra, after 100 days, the obvious illness would subside, and that person's parents would definitely be healthy for 100 years. However, that man didn't have confidence and didn't have a conscience. Seeing that his parents' bodies were unwell, he felt that the Heart Sutra was useless and gradually abandoned it. He also took a wrong path. If the Bodhisattva didn't turn around, I'm afraid he would regret it for the rest of his life. Revered one of the world. The demon venerable laughed and said, "You mean, as long as we have enough confidence and set our direction, there will be hope?" However, the celestial being cried out, "That's not right, revered one of the world. Since the Bodhisattva can use spiritual medicine to cure that person's parents' illness, why must that person recite the Heart Sutra? Wouldn't it be better to just give him the spiritual medicine directly?" Namo Maitreya. The Maitreya Buddha chanted the name of Buddha. That person, not only because of lack of confidence, he almost caused the death of his parents, but also because of lack of confidence, he lost the opportunity to worship the Bodhisattva. This is the most important thing. Revered one of the world. The problem is that I have confidence, but is the direction right? Although Xiaohua felt that the story of the Maitreya Buddha might not be appropriate, he still thanked the Maitreya Buddha for his encouragement. Confidence is the direction. The direction is also confidence. The words of the Maitreya Buddha were always very philosophical, making people unable to refute. But when they heard it, it made people feel that it was meaningless. Fellow Taoist Xiao, Reverend Lightning Bolt said with a smile, Can a Confucian cultivator also have such advice? Is it the halfway point of 100 miles journey? Or is it giving up halfway? Why don't we fly for another 8 to 10 years? If the crisis of the 3 continents is not here, what's the point of flying for 100 years? Xiaohua said with a wry smile. But just as he was about to say something, Reverend Yun, who had not spoken for a long time, suddenly cried out from another direction. Fellow Taoists, there seems to be a fight going on over there. Hiss. Xiaohua sucked in a cold breath, his voice trembling as he cried out in shock. Is it true? I'm not sure. Reverend Yun answered. There are changes in the natural energies over there, and some rumbling noises as well. But the place of the fight has gone beyond the range of the elemental will. Quick, quick. Xiaohua said excitedly. Let's go and have a look. Great. The group of 10th-tier cultivators broke through the void and teleported into the distance, as if they were mortals who were watching a show. There was a huge swamp very far away from Xiaohua and his company. At this moment, a phoenix whose body was flashing with the color of water was trying its best to defend against the attack of a strange beast whose body was covered in mud. The body of the phoenix was about 4,000 feet long, and its splendid feathers were in a mess. The air several miles to its left and right was filled with broken feathers, and some of them even fell from the mud. Boom. A loud boom rang out. The water beam spat out by the phoenix was shattered by the strange beast, and the air waves crashed into the swamp, pushing the mud 1,000 feet away. The phoenix's figure could not bear the humiliation. It tumbled a few times in the air before falling into the mud 10,000 feet away. When the phoenix landed on the mud, it quickly flew up and looked at the dirty mud with disgust. Its wings flapped brightly, and it had long removed the filth from it. However, when the phoenix's gaze fell on the strange beast in front of it, its eyes were filled with despair again. Chapter 4790. The strange beast in front of the phoenix was about 10,000 feet long. It was shaped like a loach, and its body was covered in mud and shiny oily skin. At this time, there were already some tear marks on the oily skin, and dark green blood was flowing out. However, when the blood dripped onto the mud, it slowly solidified. It was much stronger than the cracks on the phoenix's abdomen and back. Hiss! The strange beast hissed, and under the phoenix's despairing gaze, it attacked again. The ground trembled, and the mud boiled. Several black pillars of mud that were even bigger than the phoenix shot out from the mud and shot towards the phoenix. The void where the pillars of mud came from had already been torn apart, and a stench that could cover an area of 50 kilometers surged out from the void. Gee! The phoenix let out a clear cry and put away its despair. Its wings flapped, and the power of countless stars and moons appeared out of thin air, turning into water to protect itself. At the same time, dozens of beautiful phoenix feathers flew out from the phoenix's wings, waist, and other parts of its body. Boom boom. Several small flames rose from the phoenix's feathers, and the ignited feathers changed direction and fell into the phoenix's body. Then there was another loud boom. The phoenix's body exploded, and several identical phoenixes flew out from the brilliance. Gie. Several clear cries sounded, and these phoenixes flew in all directions that hiss. Seeing the phoenixes fly out, the black mud pillars that rushed out earlier hissed at the same time. From the black mud pillars, several blood-red tongues pierced out like lightning. The long tongues disappeared into the void faster than flying swords. In an instant, Gie. Miserable cries came out from the phoenixes' mouths again. Under the phoenixes, the blood tongues stretched out from the void and landed on the phoenixes' bodies. These blood tongues did not pierce the phoenixes' bodies, but stuck to the phoenixes' abdomens. The phoenixes struggled a few times, but they could not break free. Bang bang bang. Several soft sounds rang out. Except for the phoenix on the farthest blood tongue, the other phoenixes turned into feathers. Puff. Seeing that she was trapped, the phoenix turned pale with fright. She opened her mouth, and a stream of water light fell on the bloody tongue like a sword. However, the bloody tongue trembled slightly. The strange fluctuations and the slipperiness of the bloody tongue had already avoided the water light. Sigh. The The phoenix sighed and lowered its head as if it was extremely unwilling. Its phoenix beak pecked at the bloody tongue like lightning. Poof! With a muffled sound, the tongue of blood burst out with a dark green bloodstain. This bloodstain fell on top of the phoenix's brocade feathers, and it immediately emitted a sizzling sound. The phoenix's feathers were rapidly corroded. Hiss hiss! The strange beast let out a furious roar, and several bloody tongues pierced towards the phoenix from all directions. As the phoenix spread its wings, there was actually the sound of thunder. Crack! The strange beast's bloody tongue broke, and the phoenix soared into the sky. However, although the phoenix struggled to break free, the void above the phoenix had already cracked. Several bloody tongues were already like the most insidious vipers in the world, revealing their murderous fangs. Forget it! The phoenix let out a low cry. She folded her wings and wrapped herself tightly, as if she had already given up on resisting. However, before she died, the beautiful phoenix was not willing to let this ugly strange beast damage her body. Caw caw caw. After a series of crisp sounds, it was immediately followed by a hissing sound. Finally, with a boom sound, it was as if a quagmire had been opened. Everything returned to tranquility. Between the heavens and the earth, there was only the sound of the water flowing into the quagmire in the air, and the water flowing into the quagmire. Oh! The phoenix's body trembled. She couldn't wait for the pain of being killed for a long time. She couldn't help but feel a little surprised. She poked her head out from her wings and looked around in confusion. She really didn't believe that she could encounter a miracle in the Bobo wasteland. However, a miracle happened in the end. Near the phoenix, the quagmire was still rippling, and the stench was still as strong as before. However, in this quagmire, several large tentacles had been chopped off, and were thrown far away in the mud. Beneath the phoenix, the gigantic beast's carapace had already been split in half. Dark green blood gushed out of the beast's carapace like spring water, and flowed into the swamp. A peculiar stench wafted out from the blood. Who is? The phoenix was overjoyed. She cried out and hurriedly looked around. When she saw the situation in the sky clearly, she swallowed the words she was about to shout. This was because several people from the human race, the dragon race, and the phoenix race, whose auras were as solid as mountains, were standing there with smiles on their faces. The auras of these people from the spirit race covered the sky, and an inexplicable sense of happiness rushed into the phoenix race, causing her to feel dizzy. Phoenix Envoy number 9 greets the Phoenix clan's great sage Phoenix Wu. The phoenix cried out loudly. However, before she could finish her words, she stopped again. This was because there were two phoenixes in front of her. One was more powerful than the other. She didn't know which one to greet. What? One of the phoenixes was shocked. She flapped her wings and dragged the Phoenix Envoy number 9 into the sky. She cried out, "Who are you? How do you know my name?" Facing the Phoenix Wu, this phoenix had no strength to fight back or struggle. Under the unparalleled strength, she could almost see the shadow of death. "Great Sage!" Phoenix Envoy number 9 hurriedly cried out. "What are you doing?" The Phoenix Wu heard the cry of Phoenix Envoy number 9, and realized that she had lost her composure. She changed her mouth into the language of the 10,000 demon realm and asked, "Where are you from? How do you know my name?" Seeing that the Phoenix Wu's tone was cold, Phoenix Envoy number 9 didn't panic. She smiled and said, "Reporting to the Great Sage, this junior is the envoy of the Phoenix Shrine. This junior is under the order of the Phoenix clan's Great Sage, the colorful Phoenix King, to welcome the Great Sage in the Bobo Wasteland." As for the Great Sage's name, the colorful Phoenix King naturally knew about it from the Saint ranking. Saint ranking? The Phoenix Wu was surprised and turned to look at Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua's figure landed. He frowned and looked at Phoenix Envoy number 9. He asked in a deep voice, "What Saint ranking?" What else did the colorful Phoenix King say? Reporting to the Great Sage. Phoenix Envoy number 9 naturally didn't recognize Xiao Hua from the Spirit Clan. She only said respectfully, "The Saint ranking is the Saint ranking that records the names of the Great Sages in the 10,000 demon realm. Whenever an expert breaks through to the Great Sage realm, the Saint ranking will appear and the expert's name will appear on the Saint ranking. As for my colorful Phoenix King, she didn't say much. She only ordered this junior to invite the great sages of the Phoenix clan and the great sages of the Dragon clan to the Phoenix Shrine. Damn it. Xiao Hua cursed when he heard Phoenix Envoy number 9's words. When he came to the 10,000 Demon Realm, he didn't want to disturb the great sages of the 10,000 Demon Realm, or even the Demon King. He only wanted to find a space passage and quickly go to the Dawn Rain continent. But who would have thought that he would cause such a big commotion before he even walked out of this strange wasteland? The colorful Phoenix King had already sent an envoy to welcome him. How could she still go to the Huatian realm quietly? But after a moment, Xiaohua's heart moved again. He looked at Phoenix Envoy number 9 and asked in a deep voice, "Where is this place? When did you get here? How did you know that the Phoenix Wu Grand Sage came from this direction?" "Oh right, the colorful Phoenix King only told you that there were 2 great sages. Did she not mention the other great sages?" Phoenix Envoy number 9 didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly replied, reporting to the great sage, "This is the edge of the Bobo Wasteland. About 1,000,000 miles behind this junior is the Jade Azure Sea." Junior and a dozen other Phoenix envoys were ordered to do business near the Jade Azure Sea 10 years ago. After receiving the message from the Phoenix Shrine, we immediately rushed to the Bobo Wasteland to welcome the Phoenix Wu Grand Sage. However, the Bobo Wasteland is really too big. We didn't dare to go too deep and could only wait at the edge. But even so, now if nothing unexpected happens, out of the dozen Phoenix envoys, only this junior is left. Of course, in order to welcome the Phoenix Wu Grand Sage, my colorful Phoenix King must have sent other Phoenix envoys. They should also be waiting for the great sage in other parts of the Bobo Wasteland. As for how the colorful Phoenix King knew that the Phoenix Wu Grand Sage came from this direction, this junior doesn't know. That day, when this junior received the message, only 2 great sages were mentioned. The names of the other great sages were not mentioned. The Phoenix Wu Grand Sage nodded. Her tone became amiable as she said, "I see. Since you found this great sage, send a message to the Phoenix Shrine's envoys to come over. Don't let them die for nothing." "Yes, thank you great sage for your sympathy." Phoenix Envoy number 9 was very happy when she heard this. She hurriedly spat out a 5-colored feather from her mouth. A green light sprayed on it, and the feather flew into the sky, turning into hundreds of phoenix phantoms and disappearing into the nearby void. "Great sage, please wait for a moment," Phoenix Envoy number 9 said respectfully. "These sisters will be here in less than 100 days. 100 days. The Phoenix Wu Grand Sage pondered for a moment and asked, "We still have important matters to attend to, so we may not be able to wait here for 100 days. How about this, you wait here by yourself? This great sage has already seen that there are no powerful beasts nearby. After you're dead, wait for the other Phoenix envoys to come over. Then you all will return to the Phoenix Shrine together. Tell the colorful Phoenix King that this great sage and this great sage's friends are just passing by the 10,000 Demon Realm. We have no intention of disturbing them. We'll leave as soon as we find a way out. We won't disturb their cultivation and the inherent order of the 10,000 Demon Realm." This, Phoenix Envoy number 9 hesitated for a moment, but still pleaded, "Great sage, you're the great sage of my Phoenix clan. Since you've come to the 10,000 Demon Realm, you should at least take a seat at the Phoenix Shrine. Let my colorful Phoenix King be the host." "There's really no need." The Phoenix Wu Grand Sage waved her hand. She looked behind Phoenix Envoy number 9 and asked, "Do you have a map of the 10,000 Demon Realm?" "Map?" Phoenix Envoy number 9 was a little confused. Huang Tong explained, "It's also called the Realm Map. It's something that records the location of the 10,000 Demon Realm." Chapter 4791. Oh, Junior understands. This thing is called Boundary Sense in my 10,000 Demon Realm. It is used to indicate the size and location of each demon realm. Phoenix Emissary number 9 took out a phoenix feather from her wing and offered it respectfully. Although it looked like she pulled it out from her wings, Xiao Hua and the others had learned from Little White Dragon that this was a space demon tool similar to the 3 continents Qianquan pouch in the demon realm. It was called Pouch. The Flying Feather clan usually called it Feather Pouch, and the Beast clan called it Beast Pouch. Sure enough, Feng Wu took the phoenix feather and saw it clearly. This was a shiny feather that had been refined. It was faintly flowing with 5 colors. This feather was naturally used by the phoenix race to record things. It was similar to the beast skin of the 1,000 Demons Sacred Realm. Of course, the feather of the 10,000 Demon Realm had to be checked with the unique spiritual sense of the spirit race in the 10,000 Demon Realm. This was also briefly mentioned by Dai Air earlier. However, Feng Wu did not say anything. He released his Yuan Shen in a very simple and crude manner. When it landed on the boundary sense, the feather emitted a crackling sound. The 5-colored light turned into small bubbles. Feng Wu's Yuan Shen had broken through the restriction and entered. In just a moment, Feng Wu had already finished reading. He frowned slightly and handed the feather to Xiaohua. Xiaohua took the feather and scanned it with his divine sense. He easily entered it. He saw that the feather was somewhat different from the map of the hidden immortal continent. It seemed to be a space. The upper level had many light balls of different sizes and colors. There were some words in the light balls of the 10,000 Demon Realm. It was precisely the words of the Phoenix Sacred Realm, Sky-Splitting World, and so on. Moreover, there were some smaller light balls in the light balls. They also wrote something like Night Wind Void, Red Spirit Region, and so on. Obviously, these were the names of the Demon Realm. Looking at the middle level, there were also some light balls, but they had begun to turn gray. There were also words recorded on them. The lower level was completely dark. There were a lot of light balls densely packed like duckweeds on a pond. When Xiaohua's divine sense came into contact with these duckweeds, the light balls expanded rapidly. A huge area was revealed. However, what Xiaohua didn't understand was that the edges of these balls of light, regardless of whether it was the top, middle, or bottom 3 layers, were all blank and gray. There were even many areas that were blue in addition to the gray. Outside of the blue, there were 3 seemingly boundless areas that were completely blood red. The 3 eye-catching names Fear of the Great Wasteland, Dripping Dew Wasteland, and Wiping Dew Wasteland were impressively marked on the blood red. Xiaohua pondered for a moment and understood that this blood red color was the wilderness he was in. It also meant that there was danger and the situation was unclear. As for the areas that were white, they must be places that the Phoenix Shrine or the Great Saint forces of the Demon Clan could not reach. Looking at the huge Wiping Dew Wasteland, Xiaohua was really a little scared. Although he didn't know where he entered the 10,000 Demon Realm, one thing was certain: he must have appeared at the other edge of the Wiping Dew Wasteland. And it was where the boundary was imprisoned. He had just flown for a year, and it was probably just an inch above the boundary. Especially since even the Great Saint of the Demon Clan didn't dare to easily enter the Wiping Dew Wasteland. He actually swept through it. If he wasn't ignorant and fearless then, his luck was really good. Xiaohua wanted to ask Phoenix Emissary No. 9 about the Huatian Realm and the location of the Metal and Wood Realm Mountain, but he didn't want Phoenix Emissary No. 9 to know his whereabouts. Anyway, as long as he reached the place where the Spirit Clan gathered in the 10,000 Demon Realm, who would he ask? So Xiaohua nodded at Feng Wu and returned the phoenix feather to her. Feng Wu looked at Phoenix Emissary No. 9 and smiled. This saint will accept this item. It won't hinder you from returning to the Phoenix Sacred World, right? It won't. Phoenix Emissary No. 9 hurriedly flapped her wings and replied. Not to mention when the other sisters return, they also have realm sense on them. Even if they don't have realm sense, this junior can still return. That's good. Feng Wu withdrew her realm sense and looked into the distance. She pointed with her wings and said, That place is the Jade Azure Sea, right? The Phoenix Sacred World is in that direction? Yes, Great Saint. Phoenix Emissary No. 9 respectfully said. 1,000,000 miles away is the Jade Azure Sea. After crossing the Jade Azure Sea, you will reach the place where the Spirit Clan gathers. We usually call it the Spirit World. Fly half a year to the northwest, and you will reach the Phoenix Shrine. Of course, at the edge of the Jade Azure Sea, my Phoenix Shrine has built a space portal. It won't take more than a few days to fly through the Black Void Road. Space portal? Black Void Road? Feng Wu was stunned. This was something that Dai, and Little White Dragon had never mentioned before. However, just from the name alone, it should be something similar to the teleportation formations and channels in the 4 major continents. Xiaohua was attentive and hurriedly asked after listening. Phoenix Emissary number 9. Yes, Great Saint. Although Phoenix Emissary no. 9 didn't know which Great Saint Xiaohua was from the Spirit Clan. Seeing that the Great Saint of the Phoenix Clan obeyed Xiaohua, she knew that Xiaohua's status was extremely high. She hurriedly bowed respectfully. Is there a space portal between the wasteland and the Jade Azure Sea? How long will it take for you to return from here and cross the Jade Azure Sea? Is there any danger in the Jade Azure Sea? Xiaohua asked several questions in a row. When Phoenix Emissary number 9 heard this, her face immediately showed gratitude. She already understood the meaning of Xiaohua's question. She didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly answered. Great Saint, you should know that there is no space portal built by the Phoenix Shrine in the wasteland because this place is too far away from the Phoenix sacred world. Moreover, there are many innate space beasts in the wasteland. They can ambush the Black Void Road at any time, so no one dares to use it in the wasteland. Of course, this is the situation of my Phoenix Shrine. Whether other great saints built space portals in the wasteland or not, this junior doesn't know. As for the Jade Azure Sea, on the other side of the sea, there are some space portals from the spirit realm where the Spirit Clan gathered. However, the number is extremely small. When this junior came to the wasteland, I borrowed the Leopard Whale King's Qingshui's space portal to go as deep as possible into the Jade Azure Sea. Back then, this junior had more than 10 sisters who flew from there to the wasteland. It took 5 years. 3 sisters died in dangerous places. 2 sisters died in the stomach of sea beasts. How many Phoenix envoys did your Phoenix Shrine send? Xiaohua was a little surprised and asked curiously. Phoenix Emissary number 9 had already asked this question. However, when Phoenix Emissary number 9 heard it, she didn't feel displeased at all. She also didn't doubt the doubt in Xiaohua's words. She respectfully replied. This junior only knows that there are 17 Phoenix envoys with this junior. However, the wasteland is boundless. Even the border is not enough to be searched by hundreds of Phoenix envoys. If this junior's guess is correct, the king may have sent close to 1,000 Phoenix envoys. Close to 1,000 Phoenix envoys? Not to mention Xiaohua, even Fengwu was surprised. After all, they hadn't even seen a single Phoenix feather in the 1,000 Demons' sacred realm. However now, Phoenix Emissary number 9 was a little distressed. She said again, it's already not bad that 300 survived. Moreover, to return from here, we have to pass through the Blue Jade Sea. At this point, Phoenix Emissary number 9 didn't say anything else. However, the meaning of seeking protection in her words was self-evident. Xiaohua pondered for a moment. Looking at the clones, he smiled and said, waiting for 100 days is indeed a long time. Why don't we take the initiative to search? With Fengwu and Huangtong as the center, we can also sense the aura of the Phoenix envoys. That's right. Fellow Taoist's idea is exactly what I'm thinking. Let's begin. Fengwu nodded. Together with Huangtong, she let out a clear cry and rushed into the sky. Xiaohua brought Thunderbolt Immortal, and the others to fly around. When they were out of the sight of Phoenix Emissary number 9, Xiaohua released Demon Venerable Shi. However, looking at the rolling demonic aura around Demon Venerable Shi, Xiaohua was also puzzled. He didn't know if Demon Venerable Shi was also detected by the saint rankings of the 1,000 Demons realm. With the help of the 9 great sages and the secret technique of the 9 provinces' great array, Xiaohua and the other senses were like one person, covering an incredible range. Even so, it took them a full 10 days to find 272 Phoenix envoys. Moreover, these Phoenix envoys were the same as Phoenix Emissary number 9. They were all seriously injured. If it weren't for Xiaohua and the others, they probably wouldn't have been able to pass through the blockade of those ferocious beasts and gather at Phoenix Emissary number 9's location. Seeing that these Phoenix envoys were all at the 6th or 7th level of origin energy, Xiaohua was secretly shocked. They were only at the edge of the wasteland, but they were already so severely injured. When Xiaohua returned, Phoenix Emissary Number 9 was overjoyed to see that 300 Phoenix envoys had survived. 400 was only her estimation. She actually didn't know how many Phoenix envoys had come to the wasteland. Of course, after meeting each other, the Phoenix envoys reported the situation. Phoenix Emissary Number 9, who was the smallest in number, became the leader. She also knew that the colorful Phoenix King had indeed sent out almost 1,200 Phoenix envoys to welcome Phoenix Parasol Grand Sage. It was a big move that hadn't been seen for many years. Unfortunately, in the face of the colorful Phoenix King's hospitality, Phoenix Parasol could only say sorry. He asked for the location and sent these Phoenix envoys into the Kunlun Wonderland. He then brought Xiaohua and the others and flew towards the Azure Sea. Xiaohua finally met the Phoenix envoys sent by the colorful Phoenix King and found the right direction. Both the Metal and Wood Dual World Mountain and the Huatian realm were waiting in a distant place. In the Saint rankings, a group of great sages led by the original Xian Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage of the 10,000 Demon Realm were eagerly waiting for the changes in the Saint rankings. At this moment, there were not only a few great sages in the Saint rankings, but also many great sages from various clans. The yellow tiger with fiery spots all over its body was the striped tiger king of the Lower Royal clan. The huge demonic lion with rainbow-colored body was the Rainbow Lion King of the Lower Royal clan. As for the sea beast with a huge face that all the great sages wanted, it was the Leopard Whale King from the Clearwater realm that Phoenix Emissary Number 9 mentioned earlier. Give it as a reward, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4792. There was a saying in the human race, where there are people there will be Jianghu. This saying was suitable for the 10,000 Demon Realm, and the great sages of the 10,000 Demon Realm. Within the Saint rankings, the great sages were divided into different groups. The higher races, the lower races, and the Sea clan were grouped together. Of course, there were also those who were on good terms with the higher races, and those who were on bad terms with the lower races. However, as the great sages discussed patiently, they all focused their attention on the Saint rankings. Boom! A thunderous sound came from the void. Ka ka ka. A series of crackling sounds could be heard as lightning struck again. Quick! The great ape king was the most anxious. A great sage has been born. Quick, which spirit clan is it? The thunderbolt was like an ink brush, revealing a pitch-black color as it slowly landed on the holy board. However, what puzzled the saints was that wherever the thunderbolt landed, the entire holy board trembled. However, no words appeared on the stone tablet. After half a cup of tea's time, the thunderbolt turned into ink and disappeared. The holy board was still blank. How strange! Not just the great ape king, even the profound 2 Grand Sage revealed an expression of disbelief. He looked at the Swift Cherry Grand Sage and whispered, "Swift Cherry, what is going on?" The Swift Cherry Grand Sage frowned slightly. His soft rabbit face shone with a holy light. The Fire Phoenix King, who had been watching from afar, could not help but feel warmth in his eyes. He hurriedly said, "Profound Nuan Grand Sage, since the Saint Board can sense the birth of this great saint, I believe this great saint must be within the laws of heaven and earth of the 10,000 Demon Realm. Perhaps this great saint's power is far beyond the Saint Board's capacity." The profound 2 Grand Sage did not reply. Instead, the great Eagle King laughed coldly and said, "I don't know if this great sage can surpass the laws of the 10,000 Demon Realm. I only know that since he can come to the 10,000 Demon Realm, he cannot surpass the limits of the Saint rankings. In the 10,000 Demon Realm, no spirit clan can surpass the Saint rankings. I also know that this great sage is in the 10,000 Demon Realm." The Leopard Whale King's voice was sharp. "Won't we know if we go find this great sage?" The Snow Wolf King's gaze swept across the Leopard Whale King as he mocked. "That's right, the Jade Azure Sea is big enough. If you feel that you can find a great sage in the Jade Azure Sea, go ahead and find one. We won't stop you." Hee Leopard Whale King. The Swift Cherry Great Sage chuckled. If these great sages came from the outer realm, there is an 80% to 90% chance that they are in the 3 great wastelands. In fact, there might be other great wastelands that we have yet to discover. Of course, if they were lucky enough to enter the spirit realm, I'm sure the various spirit kings would have already reported it to the various great sages, right? Huff huff. The leopard whale king let out a strange sound and no longer spoke. The swift Sakura grand sage pondered for a moment before saying, I have 2 ideas. Great sage, please speak. Fire Phoenix King hurriedly said. Swift Cherry Grand Sage smiled at Fire Phoenix King and said, First, I feel like this last time, the power of thunder will be different from before. There is a demonic power in the darkness. If I'm not mistaken, this great sage should have a demon bloodline. Impossible. The Great Eagle King shouted and denied. The demon race does not belong to the spirit race, and the demon world is the mortal enemy of the 10,000 demon realm. How could the Saint Board record the bloodline of the demon race? I'm only saying that this great sage has a demon bloodline, not that this great sage is a demon. The swift Sakura Grand Sage was not angry and continued to speak with a gentle tone. I can feel the aura of the demon race from this darkness. This is not wrong. The reason why the Saint Board can sense this great sage's birth is because this great sage has the bloodline of the spirit race. As for why it can't be written on the Saint Board, it's very obvious that the demon race cannot enter the Saint Board. Xian Xian Supreme Sage nodded and said, That makes sense. However, the passage between the 10,000 demon realm and the demon world only appears once every 60,000 years. It's still very far away from 60,000 years. How could this demon race pass through the passage? Although the location of the passage is uncertain, most of it is in the Drain-Dew wasteland. We can just send the spirit race over to take a look. Fire Phoenix King hurriedly said. Why don't we make wild guesses here? Hearing that Fire Phoenix King wanted to send the spirit race over to the Drain-Dew wasteland, the colorful Phoenix King smiled. After all, the celestial phenomenon that Fengwu attracted the power of the stars and moon was too sudden, and too far away from the Saint Board. The great sages did not notice. The swift Sakura Grand Sage smiled again. Everyone, don't be anxious. My second question is, we should make a slight judgment now to see if this great sage who has yet to appear is together with the 6 great sages before him. What's the point of not being together? The colorful Phoenix King did not understand. It's very interesting. The swift Sakura Grand Sage smiled. This unknown demon race great sage might be harmful to the 10,000 demon realm. However, the 6 great sages before him are from the spirit race. We can make friends with them. Caw. As he spoke, the laws of heaven and earth appeared in the void again. This law condensed into lightning and landed on the Saint Board again. Also, the swift Sakura Grand Sage's eyes flashed with a strange light, and could not help but exclaim. Looking at the lightning again, it was rougher than before and the stone tablet shook violently. After a few breaths, a line of words that were even more shocking than before appeared. Ancient celestial being, WH. What? The flames around the profound star Grand Sage surged uncontrollably into the sky again as he exclaimed. This celestial being great sage, even the Saint Board can't determine which spirit race he is from? The profound star Grand Sage's exclamation was not only surprised but also a vague sense of uneasiness. In an instant, the entire Saint Board looked at each other, and no one said a word. A great sage that even the Saint Board could not determine was not someone they could discuss. Damn it. At this moment, the colorful Phoenix King suddenly felt a sense of regret. A few years ago, she had hurriedly set up a plan to find the Phoenix race and Dragon race great sages before the other saints. However, looking at it now, she felt like she had shot herself in the foot. Not to mention whether the strange great sage who appeared later was together with the 6 great sages before him. Just the fact that 6 great sages had come to the Phoenix Palace was probably not something she could deal with. If that's the case, the swift Sakura Grand Sage said, I can already be sure that the 6 great sages who appeared a few years ago are not together with the 2 great sages who appeared later. They should have come from different realms, and just happened to be together at the same time. Send the order. The profound star Grand Sage said hurriedly. Set up defenses in the dripping dew wasteland, and see what the two great sages mean by coming here. That's not right, the Snow Wolf King said loudly. Profound Star Grand Sage, the Saint Board is still not closed. Could it be that another great sage is about to appear? Heavens! The colorful Phoenix King could not help but moan. There are already 8 great sages. Could there be a 9th? Since when did 2 great sages appear in the 10,000 demon realm, within 100 years? There are at least 9 great sages, the Great Eagle King said coldly, and 9 great sages of unknown origins. As he spoke, crack crack, another dark green lightning appeared and landed on the Saint Board with the sound of gods and ghosts crying. The entire Saint Board trembled and more than half of it even disappeared into the void, as if it was extremely afraid of this lightning. Oh my! The Snow Wolf King could not help but exclaim. Could it be that this great sage is more powerful than the demon race bloodline from before? Crack! The lightning landed on the stone tablet. Before the words could appear, cracks appeared on the tablet. The lightning fell into the cracks and disappeared in an instant. Boom! The void naturally surged with pitch-black laws of heaven and earth, and fell into the stone tablet. Unfortunately, after the darkness, the cracks did not recover, and the Saint Board stopped moving. It was as if the cracks were the name of the new great sage. This. Not only the Fire Phoenix King and the other great sages, but even the Profound Star Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage of the Origin clan looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. Boom boom boom. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the peaceful Saint Rankings once again let out a deafening rumble. The giant stone tablet glowed with 9-colored light, and a powerful will of heaven and earth pushed all the saints out of the Saint Rankings. The Swift Cherry Grand Sage suddenly seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes were filled with terror as he stared at the crack. After the great sages left, the mysterious area glowed with endless brilliance. Thousands of light shadows rushed out from the Saint Board, and turned into lightning that fell all over the 10,000 demon realm. Then, the 9 colors gradually disappeared and turned into a huge vortex. The pitch-black will of heaven and earth seeped out from it. The Saint Board slowly rose into the darkness and disappeared. After a few breaths, the sky turned into a clear light again. Looking at the lightning that fell all over the 10,000 demon realm, the great sages knew that the 10,000 demon realm would soon be in an uproar. The names of Feng Wu, Huang Tong, Xiaohua and the other great sages would be celebrated in the 10,000 demon realm. However, they also knew that other than the great sages who could enter the Saint Board to watch, no one else would know that there were 9 great sages in the 10,000 demon realm today. However, even if there were 7 great sages, it was still an unprecedented, grand event. Since the Saint Board had been retracted, the Leopard Whale King and the others' bodies flashed and were about to fly into the distance. However, at this moment, the Snow Wolf King suddenly looked around and asked curiously, why isn't Heavenly King Hua here? Didn't this guy like to do all sorts of weird things? Could it be that after disappearing for a period of time, he has completely changed? Kiki. The Great Eagle King looked at the Profound Star Grand Sage and laughed. That suave Heavenly King Hua must be feeling guilty and doesn't dare to come. Feeling guilty about what? The Snow Wolf King was puzzled. He looked around again and asked, who did he offend? Haha, who knows? The Great Ape King laughed. He stretched out his arms and tore open the void. His huge ape body rushed into the void and disappeared. The Great Eagle King laughed and flapped his wings and flew away like a meteor. Chapter 4793. Since Huang Tong didn't want to go, who in this world could threaten him? Phoenix Emissary Number 9 and the others had no choice but to give up. After flying for more than 10 days, they were close to the space portal. Sea beasts patrolling the clear waters came to welcome them. Huang Tong let out a clear cry and followed Xiaohua into the sky. They flapped their wings and instantly disappeared. Phoenix Emissary Number 9 and the others respectfully bowed and sent Huang Tong and Xiaohua away. Then, they hurriedly flew to where the sea beasts were. After asking, they found out that the Leopard Whale King was not in the demon realm. The Phoenix emissaries were overjoyed and urged the sea beasts to go to the space portal. They wanted to pass the news of Feng Wu and the others going to the center of the spiritual realm to the colorful Phoenix King as soon as possible. They hoped that the colorful Phoenix King could come and welcome them before the other great sages saw them. Unfortunately, the Phoenix Emissary and the colorful Phoenix King's plan was destined to fail. Xiaohua and the others flew for another 10 days and flew to the edge of the land. They immediately concealed their auras and flew to the other side of the land. Sure enough, more than a month passed. Although there were many fierce beasts running wild, there were fewer fierce beasts that dared to challenge the auras of Feng Wu and the other great sages. Of course, in this wilderness, the spirit clan was almost extinct. No spirit clan dared to live in this place where fierce beasts were rampant. Xiaohua's divine sense swept over and looked at the tens of thousands of miles around. He stopped in midair and whispered to Feng Wu, "Phoenix Saint, what do you think of this place?" Feng Wu and Huang Tong released their divine sense at the same time and carefully looked for a moment. They nodded and said, "The mountains here are high and the water is dangerous. There are fierce beasts nearby, but compared to what we saw before, it's already considered gentle. I agree with you. This place is suitable for the Thousand Demons' sacred realm." "Okay, since that's the case, let's put the Thousand Demons' sacred realm here," Huang Tong said. "We can only watch over them for a while, not forever. Their lives in the future will depend on themselves." Xiaohua took out the Kunlun mirror with a smile and said, "The demon clan has a high chance of survival in the 10,000 demon realm. Didn't you see that many of the spirit clan we met were very similar to the demon clan in the 1,000 demon sacred realm? Make a copy of the world consciousness and give it to the demon clan," Feng Wu reminded Xiaohua. Of course, I's prepared. As Xiaohua spoke, he activated the Kunlun mirror. Wherever the light beam landed, the demons of the 1,000 demons sacred realm slowly appeared. Boom, boom, boom. Seeing the demons fly out one by one, their bodies expanding, Xiaohua looked at Feng Wu and Huang Tong with joy in his eyes. When all the demons came out of the Kunlun immortal realm, the demon kings of each demon clan came to meet them. Feng Wu told them about the situation in the 10,000 demon realm and handed them the beast skin engraved by Yuan Yan. Finally, she said, "Everyone, this is all that Jinren Xiao and I can help you with. You will have to rely on yourselves in the future. You have to live well. You have the hope of the 1,000 demons' sacred realm." "Yes, I understand." The demon kings looked at the unfamiliar environment and felt the power of the stars and moon that was even more abundant than in the 1,000 demons' sacred realm. They breathed in the demon chi that was even denser than in the 1,000 demons' sacred realm. While they were overjoyed, they also trembled. They bowed respectfully and said, "I will not disappoint the great saints." Also, Xiaohua thought for a moment and said, "I don't think I need to say more. You all understand that among the descendants of the 1,000 demons' sacred realm, there are also the Dragon Clan, the Sea Clan, and the Human Clan. You must remember that there are no Dragon Clan or Human Clan in the 10,000 demons realm. The Dragon Clan and Human Clan that you see are your brothers. I don't dare to ask you to live in harmony for 10,000 years, but I beg you to not fight among yourselves for 1,000 years. You must first take care of your own roots." Xiaohua's voice was not heavy, but it was like thunder engraved in the hearts of the demon kings. They hurriedly knelt on the ground and kowtowed. "Rest assured, Jinren Xiao, no matter how cruel and unscrupulous we are, we will not do anything to the human clan from the 3 continents." Xiaohua knew that these words might be believed for 100 years, but who could guarantee that after 1,000 years, these words would still exist in the world? He smiled and helped the demon kings up. He nodded at Feng Wu and Huang Tong. The 3 great saints rushed into the sky and disappeared instantly. The demon kings had already discussed in the Kunlun immortal realm. At this time, they did not dare to delay and hurriedly acted according to the plan. They knew very well that in this strange world, if they were prepared early, they would have a chance to survive. Xiaohua put down the demons of the 1,000 demons sacred realm and kept Feng Wu and Huang Tong into the space. He asked Jinren Yin to come out. Then, under Jinren Yin's suggestion, they followed the edge of the land and looked for a suitable place in the Jade Azure Sea. The Jade Azure Sea was not like the land. Although there were fewer sea beasts near the land, The seawater was still yellow and not suitable for the sea clan to live. After flying for more than a month, they still could not find a suitable place for the sea clan to live. Finally, Jinren stopped and looked at the boundless jade azure sea. He said to Xiaohua, "Fellow Taoist Xiao, you don't have to look anymore. If you want to find an ocean similar to the 3 rivers and 4 seas of the 4 continents, I'm afraid it's impossible in the 10,000 demons realm." Fellow Taoist, what do you mean? Xiaohua had already understood what Jinren meant. He asked, "Are we sending these sea clan and dragon clan into the sea?" "That's right." Jinren nodded. Since it's seawater, it can allow the sea clan and dragon clan to live. Although the seawater is different from before, if the other sea beasts can live well in it, why can't the dragon clan of the 4 continents? If the dragon clan can't even overcome this little difficulty, even if they live, what's the use? Yes, Xiaohua smiled. The dragon clan has always been favored by the heavens. If they can't even adapt to this environment, can they still be called the dragon clan? Let's do it here. Jinren said. There are no powerful sea beasts within hundreds of thousands of miles of the sea, and it's also very far from the land. It's enough for the dragon clan and sea clan to live and reproduce. All right, Xiaohua nodded, then took out the Kunlun mirror and sent the dragon clan and sea clan out. As expected, the dragon clan and sea clan also expanded in size. After the dragon generals of the 4 seas, the dragon generals of the dragon islands, and the demon beasts of the sea clan had adapted to the new environment, they hurriedly came over and greeted Jinren. Similarly, Jinren gave them the dragon shells and sea shells that were engraved with the situation of myriad demon realm, and then instructed some of them to follow Xiaohua. Like the demon kings of the sacred realm of myriad demons, these dragon generals and sea clan generals had already discussed and hurriedly dived into the sea. Although the seawater made them extremely uncomfortable, at least there was a way to survive, and it was much better than waiting in the 3 continents to be killed by the world-destroying mayflies. After sending the demon clan, sea clan, and dragon clan away, Xiaohua hurriedly followed Jinren back to the land. After that, he found Fengwu, Huangtong, Buddha Mithriya, the world sovereign, and Reverend Thunder. The 6 great saints once again released their divine sense to search for a suitable place for the human race to live in the remote areas of the spirit realm. Xiaohua was destined to be disappointed. After searching for 3 months, all he could see were barren hills and turbulent rivers, and ferocious beasts. There was no place with beautiful scenery at all. Seeing that they had wasted a lot of time, Reverend Thunder said unhappily, "Fellow Taoist Xiao, don't forget that this is the myriad demon realm, and there are no humans here. How could there be a place suitable for the human race to live?" Sigh. Xiaohua sighed and stopped in midair. He looked at the ferocious beasts that were crawling on the ground in fear because of his aura and said, "This poor Taoist is also aware of what fellow Taoists said. But when I think about those naive students and young monks who have to live in this dangerous place, I can't bear it. I always want to do more for them. Of course, I also know that if I can't let go, they can't live on their own. People have to move forward, and the human race has to make progress." Reverend Yun understood the sorrow in Xiaohua's heart. He knew that he was like a hen protecting the fortune gate with his own wings in the 3 continents, and here, he was worried about the survival of the human race. "Fellow Taoist, you can't let go, you can never let go." Speaking of this, Reverend Yun looked at Mithriya Buddha and smiled. "What do you think, revered one?" Mithriya Buddha said, "Namo Mithriya Buddha, to be honest, I have the same contradiction as Bodhisattva. For the past few months, I have also been struggling. Many words and Buddhist principles are easy to say, but when it comes to doing them, they are extremely difficult. Previously, when Reverend Yun released the dragon race into the sea, I felt that it was normal, but today, I have to put the Arhut in such a difficult place. I really don't want to." Reverend Thunder shouted. "But the problem is, there is no place suitable for the human race to live in this 1,000 demons sacred realm. The human race's body is too weak." Huangtong nodded. "It is too difficult to live in the myriad demon realm. This is probably the reason why there is no human race in the myriad demon realm." How about this? Feng Wu pondered for a moment and said, why don't we bring the human race to the Dawn Rain continent? Even if we can't break the array in the end, they can still survive in the Dawn Rain continent. Of course, if it is possible, fellow Taoists can also take them into the Shenhua continent. Reverend Thunder suggested. On the Shenhua continent, there are Tao sects, Confucian cultivators, and Buddhist sections. It is no different from the three continents. Xiaohua was silent. What Reverend Thunder suggested was the simplest and best way, and it didn't require much effort. Even the demon race in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, and the dragon race of the Four Seas could also be taken into the Shenhua continent. There was no need to coldly leave them in the myriad demon realm, and let them die on their own. Furthermore, Feng Wu's suggestion was also reasonable. The Dawn Rain continent was the world of the human race. Although the human race in the three continents were Confucian cultivators and Buddhist sects, they could still see the human race. After all, they could still live, and wouldn't become food for the demon beasts in the myriad demon realm. However, was this the intention of immortal Emperor Go-chun? The four great families, the 100 schools, the Dipankara Buddha, and the Mahavajrayana Buddha? By doing this, was Xiaohua keeping his promise? That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.